Poof. How's that guy saying? Oh, what's his name? The wizard. There's the Throne and Liberty guy. The Lost Ark guy. I don't know, every pay to win game that he plays. BDO guy, not Lost Ark. BDO. Right. I wonder how Lost Ark is doing. I haven't seen in a while. Haven't played in a while. Anyways. So we are done with the R denial, and they're shifting over to Hassan's wild tweets about Ethan. Or is this the... Yeah, we're talking about this, right? Yeah, we're talking about the R denial. Yeah, so this is about the tweets. Even the timestamp is not great, but this is about the tweets. Alright, let's see what this was about.
Explain the picture.
I can't. I don't know where it is.
So you can't see it?
Oh,
okay,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Okay, very good. I guess what's the is just a little delay for him, Dan? Or...
No, I can see it. Bro really said my lived experience in Israel proper. Great.
What's the picture?
This is Zone of Interest. You're familiar, yes?
Explain for the audience what this picture entails.
This is Zone of Interest, which is a Oscar award-winning movie depicting the banality of evil during a literal Holocaust.
Banality of evil, the Zone of Interest. What's the summary? Irradiated, sadistic. Auschwitz commandant Rudolf Haas and his wife Hedwig strive to build a dream life for their family in a house and garden beside the camp. Okay, I understand the context now. Got it.
Holocaust taking place, the monotony of the day-to-day existence, the beautiful garden.
And your implication is what?
Rudolf Hess and his family put together.
And your implication
in the backdrop, you can see
is
there
what?
is a concentration. There's a concentration camp, Auschwitz.
Your implication
and, there's a
to
plane
me
that
is
is
what?
most likely inferred to be sending.
This is the clip you're responding
camp.
to. Hold on. Like it's completely based on my. I actually don't know where it is, but I said we know what it was. I just.
So basically, the argument essentially with this picture, to my understanding, is that this is Israel building a nice little house right outside of a concentration camp named Gaza, which, by the way, last I checked, okay, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's also like they share a border with Egypt. So no matter how much Israel would want to block them in, it can't, because you have Egypt. Now, I don't see anyone blaming Egypt for, having a concentration camp in the form of Gaza, because Egypt is helping create the concentration camp of Gaza. No one is saying that for some reason. They only said about Israel. It's very interesting to me. It's like, hello? Why aren't you giving the same amount of energy for Egypt? Right? You have Bassem Youssef, who goes on, just fucking shits on Israel. And again, sure, whatever. Oh, I have family in Gaza, whatever. Well, why don't you go to Egypt and complain to Egyptians to open this border? And do you know why they don't open this border? Because they did one time let them in. And they started creating terrorist organizations inside of Egypt. So they said, fuck it. We're not dealing with these people anymore. They're fucking lunatics. Now, granted, not everyone, but probably the first ones who would take the deal of using that method of escape and push all the good civilians aside are probably going to be the guys who will want to create a terrorist organization, right? Because again, the population of Gaza is controlled by Hamas. So if anything opens, Hamas are the first ones to take advantage of it. The civilians probably won't even know about it.
Said Israel proper, right? I said my lived experience in Israel proper.
Can you
explain
play the clip?
It's 2 minutes and I don't know where this happens. If somebody can find out.
Yeah,
no, play the full thing. We have time. Yeah. I'm not going nowhere.
Let me see. Yeah, I mean I want to watch it too. It's just.
I know you do.
Let's see here. I don't. Here, I'll just play it. Oh, this is a clip from the critically acclaimed.
I love that Hassan thought that this was not going the way Ethan thought it was going. Meanwhile, let's see what I know the extension is not Oh wait, why am I doing that? Just do this. I know the extension is not accurate.
Put together.
And your
Well,
implication.
in the backdrop, you can see
Oh my God,
there is
what?
a concentration.
Yes, Spaz. Holy. Oh yeah, that's not looking good for Hassan. Did not go well for Hassan at all. Right. The West Holegi.
How's that working out? You think Ian's happy he made that video?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to him about it.
I mean, he put out a really big video. I mean, I would be stoked.
I don't know why you're asking me about what I do.
Your opinion, bro.
But I mean, I assume.
there.
I mean, it performed
Were
pretty well.
there.
I think
You
it
were
doubled
there.
your video. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's not that
think,
bad.
if anything, I think it just means that more people are interested in me than you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I believe that for sure.
Very good.
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people, some falsely and some for decent reasons, wants to.
Do you want to look at the like
see
ratio?
someone put you down a peg. It's probably the reason why there's a lot of people watching this conversation as well.
Do you want to watch
I mean,
the?
this is like like I guess but this is like not. I think he's just trying to tilt him with any way possible, but like this is, I don't know, at whatever point.
The like ratio on this? Damn.
The like ratio on this.
That's correct, my friend. Here it is.
Wait, what? Ethan, play the video. This is also been reported even by your favorite. What is it? Nicholas Eat Oreos.
My favorite?
To be false.
Okay. Well, here.
The dislike
let's
message
watch
is not
it.
correct.
Let's just watch
Why
it.
am I arguing on behalf of Ian's the video's performance? I don't give a fuck. Come on, play the video, dude. Come on, Jesus Christ. Play the fucking clip.
I mean, it is ironic that he came and did this whole show of doing it with you, and it like just completely humiliated him. I think that's kind of funny and interesting. But I'll play the clip.
Not on leftovers. He's now talking about it on his podcast.
But I want to do a show. Are you denying? Hold on, I'm sorry. His entire Creator Clash is in ruin. The event is going to be fucking absolutely canceled. He's probably not even able to reimburse most of the fighters for the time they trained. How is that not a train wreck?
Ethan,
I'm just saying.
I am not iDubbbz. I don't care about your petty vendetta against iDubbbz. Play the
You were in the
fucking
video.
clip.
How I see it, though.
You're in the video.
When you listen to Son, you hear all these fucking.
Yes, you ruined a charity event. I hope you're
It's just
proud.
like,
Oh my God, bro! You have no idea what you're talking about.
He's now talking
I'm
about it
talking
on his
about
podcast,
Israel proper,
but I wanna do a show.
and you're showing headlines about Gaza. I literally say in this clip that it's not has nothing to do with the conditions of Gaza
So
and the
stupid.
conditions of the West Bank, which I consider to be like apartheid. Like it's completely based on my lived experience of 5 years living in Israel. My lived experience, bro. You are so fucking out of line. You have no idea. How do you have the confidence to make this video? Again, I don't know where it is, dude. The phrase.
How I see Israel, because you don't see that when you listen to Son.
Israel blocks, and he shows these headlines. Israel again blocks Gaza.
It was
aid.
like
Again,
right
I'm
at the
not talking
beginning,
about
he
Gaza,
said.
which I say clearly in this clip. But go on.
You hear all these fucking mega lefties talk.
Israeli authorities block healthcare to Gaza. Again, I'm not. Do you think that I'm talking about walking around Gaza when I say how great multicultural it is?
We
did
never
you think
defended
that?
how Israel attacked Gaza since October 7th. Not even
Shield your eyes.
once. We never like
I think that's
co-signed what they did.
Is that not the point he's making, though?
It already happened. I said it. Oh.
Mhm.
No, okay,
said
anyway,
Israel
I said
proper at the
the phrase I
beginning.
said is that my experience in Israel proper.
What happened after that? When AB chimed in, I wonder. Anyway, listen.
Who knows? I mean, you like to make inferences based on.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Well, you know what's so funny? You know what's funny? It's all on the audio. Go listen to it, dipshit. It's on the audio. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a pathological liar. You are a propagandist. It's on the audio. You can go listen to it. If you give a
Ooh,
fuck.
maybe-
The
and
call outs,
Olivia were-
bro.
were-
The call outs. And it's all true. He never listens to context. Like, oh, this guy appeared. He must have said this is this. It's like, bro, just go listen. Like, you'll hear what he said.
chiming in. I don't know why you buttoned it. I'm just asking. You know, it's fine. It's not that big of a
What are
deal.
you implying
All
here? What are you implying with this photo?
right. What photo? Oh, with the photo.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
So, let's begin. This is going to finally cause us to talk about Israel-Palestine.
Bro, just explain what you're
By
trying
your
to
own
say.
admission, there is a genocide that is taking place in the Gaza Strip. By your own admission, there is also an apartheid structure both in the West Bank, but I don't think you believe that there's an apartheid happening within Israel proper by your own terms.
I don't think
Do
it's.
you
I don't,
feel-
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So do you feel as though Israel is somehow inseparable from both of these actions?
No, but obviously the conditions are different in Israel proper versus the West Bank
Mhm.
versus Gaza. Like
you
West,
feel
I
like
mean, the
you
West
go
Bank has
into Israel
checkpoints. It
amidst
has like
a-
different areas of zones of interest. People don't have freedom of movement. So obviously that's more apartheid-like than the main.
Well, that's what I find interesting. Is the West Bank is not like, in order for it to be apartheid, right? Because like, how's it called? Fuck, man. System of institutionalizing racial segregation, discrimination enforced by the white minority government in South Africa and Southwest Africa are from involve discriminatory laws and practices that denied black South Africans political, social, and economic rights. This isn't really happening inside. Who rules over the West Bank? As the West Bank and has maintained the West Bank security presences through the. Okay, so yeah, so never mind. So yeah. I feel wasn't like it's supposed to be like the not PLO. What's the other one? Palestinian Authority currently administers some 39% of the West Bank. Other remains under. Okay, so yeah, never mind. Because I felt like this was, Palestinian Authority was majority of like control there. Well, actually, like this is currently before the before October 7. Territory until the 1976 Day War, when it was occupied by Israel. Since then, Israel administered the West Bank, except for East Jerusalem, which was effectively annexed in 1980 as the and Samaria area. Jordan continued to claim territory as its own until 1988, who has authority over the West Bank. Who had authority over the West Bank before October 7, 2023? Was it the same? Did it change during this war or no? Because I would be like, yeah, I would change it. Like, I would just fucking get rid of the whole problem there. In recent decades, the Palestinian Authority has controlled parts of the West Bank, and the militant group Hamas has run the Gaza Strip. Yeah, so it's parts, but like which parts? Because I know like Palestinian Authority governs it, but I don't know how much of it. A full Palestinian control. Okay, so that's how it works. Oh, I see. So Israel controls all of it, but they make their own rules kind of thing within it. Is that how it works? Like Israel doesn't interfere with what goes on in the orange areas. But still, they're kind of like, yeah. So I can see this argument as apartheid kind of thing, right? But they're not really a part of Israel, so it's like it's a bit mixed. But I think what he means by Israel proper is everything that is not this, like everything that is like actual Israel, which is be Israel proper. There is no apartheid there, right? Everyone has the same rights. Aside from maybe running for prime minister, but like you can be in the Knesset and like which is like type of parliament and all that stuff, without problems. I don't think you can be a prime minister though, or a president, which is like whatever. President doesn't even mean shit, right? So I think that's the only thing. Who can be prime minister of Israel? No, who can, like, basic law, the government, eligibility for candidacy to the Knesset, and at least 30 years, and at least 30 years old on the day of submission of candidacy. Prime Minister. Nation Israel, but based on nationwide proportional representation, the electoral threshold is currently set at 3.25%. Can non-Jew prime minister? Okay, here we go. There we go. Any Israeli citizen. Any citizen. Yeah, so there's no apartheid in actual Israel, right? There's only apartheid technically in like something like the West Bank because there's like double autonomies. Yeah, true. Why am I not using ChatGPT? Hello, 2025. Who can become PM of Israel, or like any? Every person must meet several. Okay, Israel citizens members of the Knesset at least 30 years old. Okay. Can and I don't know what to call them. Fuck, what was their name? A Bedouin. Can a Bedouin citizen of Israel become prime minister? Yes. Okay, so like there is absolutely no. Yeah, it's highly unlikely has ever had led major. Yeah, like obviously, if you don't have majority, blah blah blah, that's fine. But I'm just saying, not probability. I'm saying possibility. So it's possible. Israel citizens, mostly Arab Muslims, and have full political rights under Israel law. Dude, so that's it. Like, there's no apartheid in Israel proper. Like, you have the same exact fucking rights. Right? You go to the army. You can go into politics. There's nothing that is like preventing you from anything. Yeah. Party support, literal democracy. Yeah, like that's. I honestly think I still think Israel is a more republic, right? Is Israel a democracy or a democratic? I feel like it's more of a republic, though. I feel like it's very similar to the U.S. It just doesn't have territory. Parliamentary democracy. Okay, now democratic power. What's the difference? Head of the government, prime minister holds real executive power. Head of state, president, mostly ceremonial. I love this. It's like everyone knows. Judge Yell, the Jewish Israeli prime minister. Ooh. There you go, right? Legislature, the Knesset. Citizens vote for parties. The party or coalition with a majority in the Knesset forms the government. Wait, so isn't this... Wait, so this is similar to Canada, isn't it? This sounds a lot like Canada. Yeah, so it's like the same as Canada, bro. it's literally fucking the same. Democratic Republic, presidential system, parliamentary democracy. Okay, so yeah, so Israel's following more in the Canadian footsteps, which isn't doing too good. But I think you can't really do much different because you don't have territories with different ideologies, right? Like I feel like US has to be a republic. It won't be able to be a parliament democracy in a sense, right? Because it's like you have so many... Everything is a flawed system. It's just the best system we have. Like I think a system has to fit to the goal, right? Like in a village, for example, I think socialism in a village is the best way to go. I don't think a parliamentary democracy would work in a village of 50 people, where everyone knows everyone, kind of thing, right? So I think it really depends on how the government is, how the territory and the amount of people it has, right? Like if in the US, because you have essentially 50 countries combined together into one country, right? Like 50 states, which essentially like each state is the size of a country. I think you have to have a democratic republic. I think flawed in my opinion is comparison to the US. I mean, the US is not perfect either because you literally, the election is literally decided by 7 states. Yeah. I like the US system. I think the only reason the system works is because it is such a huge, like, if you could do one system for the whole world, Democratic Republic would probably be the closest thing to good that we have right now, right? Because it's just, I think this is the system that works the best as we know it for huge territories, right? But as soon as the territory becomes smaller, something like Canada, and Canada, if you look at the map, like map of Canada, right? Canada is the size of the US, realistically, right? But if we look at population, more than half of this is fucking doesn't exist, right? There are no people there, right? So you could say it's like, oh well, look at the territory here. Oh, this would work, right? But it's like, no, it doesn't work because like we have 5 provinces and only Ontario is as big as like some states in the US, right? If that, honestly, I'm not even sure. Like, yeah, I guess some states for sure, but like everything else kind of like doesn't exist, right? So I don't think you can do a democratic republic without like that, because then Ontario will always decide. Ontario and Montreal, which kind of happens already, right? Ontario and Montreal kind of decide. Yeah, it's difficult. It's like, I don't even understand how they're combined because there's not even like they fuck each other over in terms of like there's no internal trade happening. Like it's literally like all the provinces are just like not even connected. Like there's no like it's like I don't know. Canada is such a weird fucking system. Right, overall, it's just a weird fucking system. Anyways, US, the best geography for economic prosperity in the world. Ontario equals California. Yeah, essentially, that's... God, Ethan's brain is so melted. Montreal equals New York. Yeah, and it's like... But they also take over... Like, they literally decide elections, right? It's like, imagine like in the US you have 7 swing states. In Canada you have 2 democratic provinces that control the fucking country in terms of election. Kind of stupid, you know, kind of stupid. But yeah. Yeah, it's a problem of our government separate together. Yeah, it's such a weird system. We'll see if who's trying to leave? Alberta. Alberta's trying to leave the Canada. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. And it looks like Alberta and British Columbia now as well. They want to leave Canada. Well, we'll see what happens. Anyways, yeah.
Body of Israel.
Yeah. Don't you feel like you going to Israel proper would actually resemble someone going to, you know, someone going near Auschwitz and being like, well, it's actually beautiful there. It's
Not at all.
that big of a deal.
No.
It's multicultural. Oh, you don't see the comparison.
Well, I mean,
Well,
where
Jonathan
Israel?
Glazer,
You mean
who
in Tel
made
Aviv? So you're saying
Jonathan
that?
Glazer, who made this video,
I honestly, I hate when people say it's like, oh, you don't see the comparison. It's like, bro, the argument of like, okay, there's like some similarities, like that is the argument, is like, I get it, but it's the same similarity as like, well, Hitler drank water and you drink water, so there's similarity between you two, so you might as well be Hitler. That is the level of similarity. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like, okay, guess I'm Hitler now. I drink water too. It's so stupid.
Jonathan Glazer, who made this Oscar-winning movie, does see the
Next,
comparison.
next argument, bro. U.S. Mexico map. Next argument is going to be, right? So this is Mexico. If somehow Guatemala and I don't know Belize decide to block this border, nobody's gonna complain. That those were all his arms, yeah. So these guys, for some reason, decide to like, okay, we're blocking this border, and it's like, oh, it's a minor border, so it's nothing. And then the U.S. would completely, which by the way they're trying to do, completely block this border. Suddenly, people be like, oh well, Mexico is like what do you call it? It's like a concentration camp. And block their like fucking the waters, right? So it's like a concentration camps. Like they have so much autonomy. Like the problem is a concentration camp. You also decide what happens in the concentration camp, right? Israel doesn't decide what goes on in Gaza, because if they did, there would not be Hamas, right? They wouldn't be able to kidnap citizens into Gaza because Israel would actually control Gaza Strip too, because it's their concentration camp, but it's not. Watch all the previous vids on this. You can't win a debate with a fool. It's scary he has such a following. Dude, I made a few videos of like, I don't even blame him, because, dude, if he's making money off it, I can see a lot of people just like fucking, like, let's be real, we all know immoral people who just like fuck other people over. We can think of a couple names. Just to make money, right? Like, and how many times did we say, it's like, bro, I wish I had like shittier morals or like no morals. I would be a fucking millionaire, right? So I don't even, in a sense, blame him for having no morals or just being an idiot and making money off it. I blame his viewers, right? It's like, I don't blame OnlyFans models for making porn and getting paid. I blame the idiots who pay them. Oh, he's definitely sounds popped. He's definitely paid by Qatar or some shit like that. He's 100% getting paid by something, by someone, right? And honestly, right now, I don't know if you watch this guy. He's really funny. I am a huge fan. The critically acclaimed series. The critically acclaimed series. Does he have a playlist for this? Yes. How fucked is a Sun Piker? 33 videos, bro. Highly. Oh yeah.
With a Gucci bag, got his Prada cakes, gotta have his swag.
I love this song. Best song ever. Anyways, yeah. So as you can see, I've been following closely with how fucked a Sun Piker is. Yeah, if you're bored during work, bro, just like pop one of these, like you'll get everything you need to know about Hassan. But recently he's been saying that it's like maybe FBI should investigate him for never seen Lamau. I'll check Naxonar. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But like, so recently he's been saying it's like, hey FBI, maybe look into this. Hey FBI, like look into this because based on the law, Hassan Hamas Spiker is giving material support to terrorist organizations, which is up to 20 years in jail. So if he starts getting investigated by the FBI and shit, or honestly, I don't even know if this is FBI. This might actually be Homeland Security if it has to do with like terrorism and not it's not domestic terrorism essentially, because it's like if he is getting paid by terrorist organizations from outside the country and it gets found out, I'm pretty sure this is Homeland Security levels, right? Then the investigation will come out, and then they will find out if he is getting paid by like Qatar or some shit like that. And if he is, oh man, because he rather support popular shit. No, so material support to terrorists. What does mean in the US? Material support terrorism refers to providing any kind of assistance, whether physical, financial, or otherwise, to a terrorist organization or an individual engaged in terrorism. It's a federal crime under 18 U.S. Code. Funds or financial services, weapons and explosive training. None of this, right? There was something about like advertising for them, you know, and he's like showing like straight up terrorist propaganda videos, which is basically he's advertising for terrorists kind of thing. Does terrorist propaganda considered material support? Yes, advertising and spread terrorist propaganda can be considered material support. Yeah. So he's supporting online and he's pushing their agenda. Yeah. And glazing them and all that stuff. Yeah. Like he's saying that they are the good guys. He's showing like their propaganda videos, like they're making a song with like guns and how they're gonna destroy Israel and the West, yada yada yada, right? It can be material support if you're knowingly helping a designated foreign terrorist organization promote its message. So technically, by this, he is providing material support. Technically, right? So. Yeah, obviously, it's like you're gonna have to also prove it because he can label it under journalism or something like that. Like I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that easy to prove. However, if there is going to be an investigation and they find in his, let's say, funds, or like he's getting deposited checks from like Iran or Qatar, then you're like, okay, now we can connect the dots and we can make a pretty solid argument that he is actually getting paid to promote a certain message. Now, personally, I think he can do whatever he wants. I don't mind, but obviously, if you are actively breaking the law, then you know. Oh, also another cool channel is Tal Oran, the traveling clad. It's short videos, like 10-15 minute videos. Also, he's talking about like Israel Gaza a lot. He doesn't even talk. He just shows information, and I'd say like 10% he talks, 90% information. So like another cool video to, cool guy to check. I like that guy too. Anyways, let's get back to this bullshit.
Hold on, you're
He
crazy.
said as much.
You're
in
saying
his Oscar
all I
award,
said was my
winning
lived
speech.
experience in Israel proper. Is the problem that Israel proper? That sounds racist or something?
No, I think you're trying to present Israel as a beautiful multicultural land when it is
Tolerant.
directly doing.
Jew Hate Database make incredible videos online exposing
haters and anti-Semites of the Jewish people. My name is Tal, the Traveling Clat. Let's take a look at this insane clip.
I think the
Yeah,
bigger
he does
thing.
an introduction, then he shows the video most of the time. Maybe talks a bit. Right. This is one of the videos where he talks more, but it's like a 4-minute video, 5-minute video. If it's like a 10-15 minutes, then he barely talks usually.
A genocide across the border boundary, okay, and
Yeah,
also
I
is
make
an
a distinction.
apartheid on a good day.
Yeah, I make a distinction for sure.
You
Israel is a beautiful multicultural country. It is. It's. I honestly think Israel is as multicultural as maybe like minus 1 or 2 races, but it is as multicultural as the US, especially for its population. There's like, what's the population right now of Israel? 8 million Israel population. 10 million, right? And it's pretty much as diverse as the US, minus Mexicans. You know, you have plenty, like you have a lot of Somalians, you have Asian people, like you have Hindu, all that stuff, right? It's like, yeah, I think the US is more multiculturalism just because like everyone flocks there, but yeah, like I'd say second most multicultural country in the world, more than Canada in my opinion. Right? Maybe not more. Maybe not more. But it's up there, okay? I would say US and Canada probably are like the most, and like Israel is like a close third.
I mean, I lived there for 5 years in Tel
from
Aviv.
the crimes that is happening 6 miles away, Ethan. That's my point. So
6 miles from where I live in Tel Aviv? 6 miles from
I
where?
don't know how many
Okay,
miles away.
I think this is a weak argument by Ethan. Like he's just being like, you know, like I want the most specific answer, even though he knows what he means. His argument is that Gaza is a concentration camp, and Israel built is enjoying its freedom outside of a concentration camp. When we moved here and they talked in school about multiculturalism, it was fine to me because we grew up around so many different people. It was laughable and stuff. They pushed on us. Now, this is probably the biggest problem with that I didn't like about how they explained Canada, multiculturalism, symbol, the church glass thing, what do you call it? Just talk to it like a human being. I missed what Ethan said. Basically Hamas biker said that's like you're living like 6 miles away, like you're creating this nice little house 6 miles away from concentration camp, and then Ethan is like, oh, like what, Tel Aviv is 6 miles away, and it's like that's not the point. Referring to the stained glass, the stained glass window that's often used as a symbol of multiculturalism, right? So Canada is a stained glass window, while America is supposed to be a melting pot, right? Now here's the problem, right? I do not like the stained glass analogy. In my opinion, stained glass is basically Charlie Kirk's argument against against diversity, right? That diversity is not a strength, and stained glass window is literally like diversity, which is like everybody comes here with their own fucking separate agenda, and then you have agendas clash. You know, this is the first I hear about this stained glass thing. Really? Oh no, this is like the first thing I learned when I came to Canada. Yeah, we are stained glass, and then the US is supposed to be a melting pot. The problem is, and this is what probably fucked the US over, especially in the last 2 decades, is that America became more of a stained glass window. You have so many, if you have mass migration of one specific demographic, you will not be able to melt pot it. Like, it will be resistant to the heat of the melting pot. Is phenomenal around common rules and goals. Well, then you're not diverse. Like, the diversity is not skin color. Skin color is not diversity. Diversity is just like, and I think this is Charlie Kirk's argument for the most part, and I agree with him on this. When people say diversity is a strength, and it's like, no, if you have a team, right? I do like this argument. If you have a team and they all have different goals, then you have a problem. Like you're gonna have a weaker team. But if they have the same goal and the same objective, right? Imagine like you have a team of egomaniacs who they all want to be the ones scoring the goal, right? Soccer analogy, right? You have 10 players, all of them want to score the goal. Then you have no one at defense. Okay, the goal at that point is not to win the game, it's just to score, to be in the highlight to score the goal, right? Whereas like the team who's focusing on winning the game, right, and they work together to achieve that goal is a stronger team. Right now, you have, stained glass window. I didn't mean diversity in skin color, I meant, yeah. Personal merit, that's fine. Like, yeah, so it's like, it depends how you view diversity. I think the way Charlie Kirk views it is like, there's no strength in diversity when the diversity means different goals, right? Because you have so many people who are like, who want the US to be a socialist country. You have some that want, open borders. Then you have some that, like, the goals are very different, right? So, and you have the ones who are opposing it, right? So it's like, like you can't offer nothing. No. The problem with YouTube is like there's a delay of like 20 seconds. I think it's at the restream. So it's like when you say something, I'm like, is he referring to the previous point or to this one? But I think I'm catching on. Like if you come to Canada, you get with Canada's program and not try to change it. No, see, that's the thing. With Canada, you try to change it. With America, supposed to be melting pot, you are not trying to change it. The problem with Canada, with the stained glass window, is that once you have, because like let's say stained glass window, right? So this is the what's the best one? It's literally just like a bunch of colors. So this would be the best one technically. So you see how like you have all of these different colors. Let's say this is one window, right? And you have all these different colors. If you start having blue taking over, let's say you're starting to import a lot of blue into this stained glass window and starts taking over, you are effectively going to change the country. Right? This is the problem, in my opinion, of a stained glass window, where it's like one color can start taking over and then you're not going to have much of a stained glass window. It's not going to be, hey, I've been watching for 10 minutes and I'll say this. You're talking about abstract stuff that isn't relevant, doesn't matter, and can never be proven or disproven. You're wasting your time. Okay, thanks, Steven. Like, okay. Oh no, I'm talking about stuff that can't be changed. No. Bro, I have like one viewer. You think I'm changing fucking reality over here? I'm talking about shit that interests me, okay? I'm talking about concepts. History boy. Unemployed mentality. Oh god, yeah, that's fucking funny. But thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it. Thanks for the feedback. I don't know what you want me to do about it. Do you want to just turn off the stream? Like what? Like, okay, cool. Like fair criticism, but whatever. Anyways, right? It's like, let's say this one, right? So again, you have like, this is the problem in my opinion with like a stained glass, right? It's like, it can be less stained. Can change the time, yeah. Whereas like a melting pot, right? Melting pot. What would be a good example? Yeah, so the melting pot, right? And that's like everyone will be the same. Everyone will be American after this, right? And I think this is a much better system where you try to integrate everyone to American society, right? Oh god, stained glass is way more expensive than I thought. Yeah, it's fucked up. Right? So melting pot would be everyone is an American. So in my opinion, melting pot is a lot better system. However, the way the US has been run in the last 2 decades has turned more into the Canadian way than the American way, because you cannot have a melting pot with mass migration. People would just huddle in their own little organization, and then you just create Little Italy, Little China, like all of these like little zones, and they just stay in their zones, right? You create like a mini ecosystem inside of an ecosystem, and they never have to leave that ecosystem anymore, right? They don't have to integrate into society because they have enough of their own people to create their own little society in the country, and therefore they don't have to adapt to anything else, right? Sometimes their kids will go out and explore the US, right? But for the most part, the society will stay closed off from the rest of society, right? Like you go to, there's this video, oh, what's his name? Oh, I forgot. But anyways, there's this guy who goes and interviews the district of Ocasio-Cortez in the US. Sorry, in New York. Nobody speaks fucking English. Okay, the whole city doesn't speak fucking English. That is the Ocasio-Cortez district in New York. Like he was hard to again. Obviously, he edited. Maybe he did find English-speaking people, and it wasn't to his agenda. So he edited whatever. Like I'm aware of that possibility, but I'm just saying that why do you have so many people who don't speak English? That's like, what the fuck? All right, let's keep going.
It is from
It's a lot
exactly
further
where
than
you
6
live in Tel
miles.
Aviv.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know how many miles away it is. That's not the point. It's
No, so
close
you're-
enough that you can see it. If you go to Siderot, you can watch it.
The
They call
point
it
you're
the night
making is that
cinema.
everybody living in Israel is living next to a concentration camp.
Yes.
So,
death camp.
and so I said, bro really said my lived experience in Israel proper, and you're saying that I am a Nazi officer living casually and enjoying life as people are
No,
not.
you're not directly a Nazi officer.
Well, that's what this says.
No, Ethan, you're taking it a little bit too literally. I think the point there with that imagery is not that it's...
Yeah, I understand Hassan's point. The problem with the point is that he considers Gaza a concentration camp. That's where the point falls apart. But if it was a concentration camp, I understand his point, and it would make sense, yeah.
Why did you
Nazi
choose the
officer
one with the
is
guy
that-
standing in it?
Well, I'm actually interpreting
I think this is a
the
weak
work
point
of
by
art in the
Ethan.
exact same way that Jonathan Glazer...
So, right now, I think we're at 3-1, Ethan to Hassan. I think this would be a 3... Not really. This is like a 3-1 still, because his point is based on a wrong assumption, because Gaza is not a concentration camp, right? So, this point is wrong. If his premise was correct, then he would have a point. But it's still 3-1.
who made the...
Twitch delay? No, Twitch delay is like 5 seconds. It's supposed to be. As far as I know. Yeah, Twitch delay should be 5 seconds. YouTube delay is about 20 seconds.
piece of cinema interpreted it. The entire point is, you can have a wonderful life as an American Jew in Israel. Of course you can have a wonderful life in Israel. That's the point, because
Yeah,
Israel
I'm not talking-
is a ethno-religious supremacist apartheid state that is currently doing a genocide. It is the entire
Ethno. It's. I totally butchered the fucking wording. Da 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 da. Is China an ethno-religious supremacy? China does not officially identify as an ethno-religious supremacist state, but some of its policies and practices have been described by scholars and human rights groups as having ethno-nationalist or Han-centric elements, with religious control playing a major role. Okay, cool. Is Russia... By the way, I'm pointing these out because these are the governments that Hassan is supporting. Postroy Boy got a point. Postroy Boy. Postroy Boy? Is Russia an ethno-religious state? Russia is not officially an ethno-religious state, but similar to China, its policies and practices and elements that emphasize ethnic and religious dominance within certain contexts. Okay, can you stop? There we go. So Hamas Biker supports Russia, China, and who else? Iran, Qatar, but like the bad parts of it, you know, like the Houthis. Yeah, he loves the Houthis, right? Are the Houthis ethno-religious? Houthis movement, officially known as Ansar Allah, is not a straightforward ethno-religious supremacy movement, but it does have ethno-religious elements that play a significant role in its identity and motivation. Okay, interesting. Yeah, because he seems to have such a hard time with Israel being an ethno-religious state. Okay, is Iran an ethno-religious state? Whatever. Iran is often described as a theocratic state with elements of ethno-religious dominance. Okay, wow, damn, man, even them. Oh man. Oh, he also likes Switzerland, right? I don't think Switzerland is. I don't think Switzerland. Ethno-religious. I don't think it is because it lets so many people in. Religious state, but it does have strong elements of multiculturalism and religious diversity. Yeah. So he got one. Okay, maybe he should live in Switzerland then. That is a pretty chill place. It is because there's not a lot of people. It's like when you don't have a lot of people, you can live very comfortably, in my opinion, right? I came from a very small city. I don't even know I think it's a town, not even a city, right? In Israel, bro. Super chill. Everybody knows well, not anymore. It grew and now it's like very fucked up. But when I grew up, bro, everybody knew everyone. We were like citizenship of like 10,000 people at most. Fantastic. Right? And it was like great. Everybody knew everyone. You had your bullies, but it's like, yeah. But other than that, like everyone like kind of knew everyone, and it was great. Like you go anywhere and you like meet friends, kind of thing. It was fantastic, right? You make it big, not that great. No. When I moved there, it was 10,000. I remember like the sign. I remember the sign when we just moved there. It was 10,000. Yeah. Well, 93, I think, because we lived in a kibbutz for a bit. I like Malta. It is pretty and has a cool language. When we lived, it was 24. Yeah, like you guys came later, right? You guys came like a couple years later or some shit like that. To Alad? But yeah. 94. Yeah. So you guys came like a year later, because I remember we already had the house, whatever, and then you guys lived with us for like a few months. Yeah. Another place for shady dealings? Hell yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, anyways, small places usually are better, and you can have multiculturalism a lot easier. The bigger the place, because again, like, if let's say you have a population of 10,000, you have 50 different cultures. That means at most, like, you have 200 people per culture, so you can still mingle very well. When you have like a group of like 10,000 people of one culture and 10,000 people of another culture, 10,000 people of another culture, you don't need to talk to other cultures, and then you remain stuck in your own little culture. Like in my opinion, big places, multiculturalism can be very problematic. Small places where you have to interact with the other cultures on a regular basis because there's less of your group anyways, I think it's better. 10,000 people, and it was more multicultural than... Well, when we moved there, 10,000 people, it wasn't very multicultural. But it wasn't that bad. Like, even when it grew to 25,000, it was still not too bad. The one big difference over there, they are united by religion. I mean... Not really. Like... Well, I would say the difference in Israel would be like you're either a practicing Jew or not a practicing Jew, right? Like you either believe in God or you don't believe in God. But there's no like you believe in God, then the next person you talk to believes in Jesus, and then the next person you talk to believes in Allah. And it's like you do have those, overall, but they don't interact with each other all that much. So it's like growing up for me was like either somebody was Shomel Shabbat versus, not Shomel Shabbat. Like, yeah. Either way, like, I don't think it's that big of a problem. I think it's a problem when you cannot interact with the other people. Racially different, but religiously the same. Here in US, you're racially different, and okay, I guess, like, everyone's kind of like a Jew. Diversity works best when the cultures actually interact with each other, and that gets harder and harder as population. Yes, that is basically my point, History Boy. Oh, that's what you meant. History Boy had a point. I was like, who are you talking about? Yes, that is pretty much. I just think it's a big difference between two in this comparison. Yeah. If you have to interact with other people, you're like, exposure therapy is the best solution to everything. You don't want racism, exposure therapy. Trust me, you have a few black kids in like a white school, the white kids will be less racial, less racist as time goes on, especially if they have good experiences, because they're like, oh, well, not all black people are bad, right? Same thing with Mexicans, Hindu, all that stuff. Like, exposure therapy is by far the best solution to racism. Not going into the streets and fucking, creating riots and destroying windows, and it's like, we have lesser rights, and it's like, no, you have the same. Most people on the alt-right actually became de-radicalized because they're taught to hate, but then they actually interact with them. Yeah, exposure therapy is by far the best solution to anything. You're not going to solve a massive, social issue with force. Only with time and exposure, right? Forcing a massive change will actually radicalize people to the opposite way. It's like, oh, you don't want me to be racist, and you're punishing me you're punishing me for being racist. I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna triple down. You have so many people who will do that instead of just like, if you're racist, it sucks, but as long as you don't act on your impulses, that is fine. Like, don't cause harm, whatever. Your kids will live next to the kids that you're racist against, whatever. Like, they will interact with them, and they will be less radicalized, and their kids will be less radicalized, and their kids will not be radicalized at all, right? Exposure is by far the best. Like, politically, I am close to Antifa, but their way of doing it sucks. You do not convince people that your ideology is good by violence. It is better to actually do the better forms of direct actions that help others in need. Honestly, yes, I agree with you. I don't know how, like, I think I understand what you mean. You're politically close to Antifa. Like, you believe, like, yeah, fascism is bad. But using fascist tactics to prove that fascism is bad, not a great way to go about it. I think most people would agree with the message of fascism is bad. The problem is, I don't think a lot of people understand what fascism is. That's the problem. And it's like, oh, he's doing something I don't like, that's fascism. Yeah, that's not really how it works, okay? Anyways.
Underlying principle of why this nation state was founded. That's what it was founded on. It was founded on exterminationist principles of the indigenous Palestinians, which you seemingly agree to. So yes, if you actually think Israel is doing a genocide, then it comes across as rather odd that you would go to Israel to show how multifaceted and how wonderful Israel is.
I mean, yeah,
I'm gonna have to listen to this again. Dude, honestly, I need to download a book about Machiavellianism. I hear it being mentioned all the time, and I am not 100%. I understand kind of what it means, but I need to, like, I want a big and more in-depth understanding to, like, identify it better. Because right now I understand, like, in a very general term, but, like, not in... People are throwing it around too easily. Let's just say that's more or less do what you need to do to get what you want and need. Yeah, that's very again, that's why they apply to, like, psychopathies, right? Lie, cheat, steal if you have to. Yeah, that's why they apply to, like, psychopaths. But yeah, I want a slightly more in depth. It can't be that simple, because I think most people at some point have based on this, have a Machiavellian tendencies, right? A very short book. It's like 2 pages of repeating, do whatever you want to get what you want. Do whatever you need to get what you want. Anyways, let's hear this again.
Which you seemingly agree to. So yes, if you actually think Israel is doing a genocide, then it comes across as rather odd that you would go to Israel to show how multifaceted and how wonderful Israel is.
I mean, yeah,
it would be exactly like someone saying, "Oh, you don't understand? I'm German. I am going to Poland. I'm going to go to Warsaw. I'm going to go to Auschwitz."
Here's the thing with this argument that is so bad, because it's like, his argument is Israel gets to live good, like the civilians and the countries getting to live good off of the actions of the army. Like, you are kind of right, but the problem is that is true for every country, right? The US civilians live good because the army committed some atrocities some time ago, right? The Boston Tea Party, okay, and by the way, I did read about the Boston Tea Party, really interesting. the first shot that was heard around the world was out of like a misunderstanding, because the funniest thing is when that shot was fired, right, and the guard that like one of the 3 or 2 guards that was there, there were mixed reports by the newspapers that said that the guard shot first, but he missed, and that's why he was attacked. And then there's a one like basically like the guard instigated by like acting from like instinct of like, you know, like fight or flight kind of thing. And the other reports say that the crowd was so agitated that they fired first. Right? It's a really interesting thing, and it's like that fire that like started it all, like the shot that started the whole like Tea Party thing, happened because one guy was too agitated. It's like, you think it's bad, you'll at least know when it's being done on you. Oh, bro, it's being done all the time. Like if the Machiavellian is just such a simple thing of like do what you have to do, dude, honestly I would be to blame for Machiavellianism at some point. I think most people would, like, because I can't believe it's just such a simple thing. It has to be a bit more. Yeah. Oh, thanks, bro. Oh, did you know that your picture reminds me of my brother, by the way, on Twitch? Your picture on Twitch reminds me of Cielo. Just saying.
It's not the same at all, dude.
How wonderful Auschwitz looks like, because it's German territory.
Okay, I lived in Tel Aviv. I worked beside Palestinians. I worked with them. I took the bus with them. I walked around the streets with them. I went to the restaurants. They worked with me in my businesses. It's not what people expect. That's my point. You don't see...
Yeah, that would be lying. That would be lying to your audience about the actual totality of Israel. You want to talk about my totality of anti-Semitism inferred off of...
I love that he has a totality of Israel, never having been there. I am way too kind to take advantage of people. I would say nobody is way too kind to take advantage of people. You either need a strong... and I'm not saying that's like everyone's psychotic. I think everyone has those moments of weakness where something needs to be done, and by coincidence, the people that you would take advantage of, you just like they're not important enough to you, or like you hate them, or like they piss you off, and you're like, I don't mind screwing this guy over. I think most people are kind enough to not do it on like a normal basis, where it just like, you know, I think some conditions have to be met. And I think practically everyone would do it, at least to an extent, right? Or like, you know, Big Deal said, you're not desperate enough, which is, by the way, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. I also don't feel good if I do it. Like if I end up doing it, I don't feel good about doing it after the fact, right? It just happens. Like it's like conditions were met, and it's like, yeah, first world problems essentially. Yeah. It's a good problem to not have, like not being desperate enough. But yeah, it's like, you know, I can think of examples, but I'm sure like you can think of examples where it's like some conditions would be met, and you're like, I don't mind to an extent acting this way to save my own skin, or save, let's say, a family member's skin, right? If I was hungry and I had to feed my kids, I'll take advantage of anything and everything. Yeah, it's like I think most people would. It's like at the end of the day, it's a good thing that you don't have to think about, you know how they say, think about number one first. It's a good thing you don't always have to do it on a regular basis. But you can get to, like, if you get to a situation, I don't think you can be blamed, right? I don't blame starving people for stealing food. I think most people won't, but they are technically stealing from other people. They're taking advantage of other people for their own gain, right? Now, I don't think that's Machiavellian, like, obviously, like, because that's why I said, like, it can't be that simple of a term. I'm just saying that's like the circumstances may align where you will have to take advantage of somebody to further yourself, right? Or like for your own survival. Yeah.
of like hyper specific narrow definitions that you have invented in your mind. Talk about the totality of a country that you recognize is doing genocide. You think it's appropriate? You think it's appropriate to go to Israel while there's a fucking
take advantage of people is Machiavellian. I think that's why I'm saying like it can't be that simple. It has to be within certain confinements or certain contexts. It's basically take advantage for personal gain. I get it. The expense of others. That's basically personal gain, the expense of others. But I think there should be a bit more context. It's not, and yet, if you simplify it, that would be the easiest way to understand. I get it. But I think like some stuff. Be a politician in all things. Yeah, basically, essentially, yeah.
Genocide going on.
I mean,
by your own
you did a show with me, and you considered me a friend, and you knew that I was apparently a Nazi officer that whole time.
What?
I said you were considering me a friend. You did a show with me. You knew I lived in Israel that whole time. I'm surprised you were willing to work with a Nazi officer.
I also have interviewed members of the Knesset, as a matter of fact, like Ofer Kasef. I have interviewed Israelis from the anti-Zionist.
What's his name?
Said you were considering me a friend. You did a show with me. You knew I lived in Israel that whole time. I'm surprised you were willing to work with a Nazi officer.
I also have interviewed members of the Knesset, as a matter of fact, like Ofer Kasef. I have.
Mas does have a sweet mustache, it does. Ofer Kasef is a prominent Israeli politician known for his far left views. Okay, yeah, no. It's like, I interviewed a member of the Knesset. He's clearly an evil guy. Meanwhile, yeah, Palestinian flags. Okay, far left views. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, he's a very evil guy. Yeah. Oh my god, bro. See, this is the whole like diversity is a strength kind of thing. Honestly, I have not seen a country where far left means a good thing. I don't mind being left, whatever, but like when I see far left, I'm like, yeah, buddy, like brain is gone, right? I can't, bro. I cannot take far left people seriously, man. It's like they just don't make any sense to me. Now, a lady that's a member of the Knesset and she ruined our city. I mean, yeah, politicians, you know. Yeah, it's like I don't know what it is. I think like far left for some reason think that because we have it good, we must try to make it as good for everyone else at the expense of our wellness. Which is like we have to lower our prosperity for other people to get as prosperous as us and then just ruin for everyone. Right? Because it's like the reason you have it so good, and by the way, if you have it too good, I get it, but it's like you have actual people from your side that are not having a good life. Okay? I only see far left people aside from like the massive advocates of far left are usually very well off, are the ones who will never have to deal with the consequences of trying to make it better. Also, they're not the ones who are sacrificing their well-offness compared to others. It's like, we need to bring all of these immigrants, right, so they can have a better life. Meanwhile, we live in fucking gated communities. We have police protection. Let's defund the police for the peasants while we can hire our own fucking security, right? And everyone can have a better life. It's like, no, you fucked over like your whole population to make a better life for those who came from third world countries, and the ones who came from third world countries might have a slightly better life, but they're gonna turn the rest of your population into a third world country while you live in your fucking well-off community, right, of gated fucking security, which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, some walls can be climbed over, some security guards can be fucked over, and even your secure fucking area, when there's enough fucking people on the other side of the gate, will... You know, have you ever seen like a zombie movie where like you have walls and you have gates and you have massive security? At some point, the zombies will get in. Okay, I climbed over. I'm watching on my phone with as well. Oh, nice, thanks. I climbed over my school walls all the time. Dude, like, yes, right? I mean, technically, yeah. But it's like, at some point, the people who you let in will get to you. Okay, they're just gonna have to go through the whole population, but they will make it there if you keep going, right? At some point, you will let enough zombies in to take over your fucking house, and you're gonna have to go and find a new house.
Interviewed Israelis from the anti-Zionist youth movement Mezarvot, Israeli members, Israeli Jewish citizens that have refused service, refuseniks.
I'm
I don't have an
dyslexic,
issue
yeah.
with people that
I don't
have
know
lived in
what you're going on
Israel.
about.
Some of the reason why I know the total and utter depravity of the inception of Israel comes from
But you
Exeter
don't.
University's very own Ilam Pape. His writings are what guide me. Of course, I don't have an issue with people that have lived in Israel.
All right, can I
and no
respond?
longer
Steven on YouTube is not Steven employed. Well, was he? Steven employed. Last name is Imp Oil. Imp Oiled? What? Wait, what? Where is it? One second. Steven. Oh, it is Impolite. No wonder it didn't hit. So hard to read.
live in Israel, or even still
I
live in
respond?
Israel, as a matter of fact. As
you
long
like
as
me to
Oh no,
respond?
I don't think it hit because he left as soon as he wrote that. I have been watched for 10 minutes. Your content is bullshit, and then he leaves, right? So it's like, okay. So like it didn't hit because he already left by the time you wrote it. In my head as Empolyed. Empolyed. Does that even mean anything? Empoly?
Zionist.
Laugh
Because
my
I
own
care
joke.
about
The
the
joke
Zionism
is...
as
Bro,
an
you just
ideology.
called
Hey,
I do
hey.
not care.
That's how it is. If you don't laugh at your own joke, nobody would laugh at your jokes. Anyways,
About-
I can't even hear what
Of
he's
course,
saying.
Of course,
Let
I
me-
don't have an
let
issue
me
with people
try
that
and
have lived in
concentrate.
Israel
All right, can I
and no
respond?
longer live in Israel, or even still
I
live in
respond?
Israel, as a matter of fact.
Would
As
you
long
like
as
me to
they're
respond?
anti-Zionist, because I care about the Zionism
Bro,
as an
you're just
ideology.
gish-gouging.
I
Just
do
let me
not care
respond. My
about
God.
Jewish
You don't need to
people or
grandstand so
Israeli
long. Just
people.
let me
These are
respond.
not a part of my consideration because I believe in the best of people. I believe that people, regardless
Jesus
of the
Christ,
circumstances that
bro.
they've
He doesn't believe in the best of people. Not if they're Jewish. Gotta let the dog out. All right, let it out. Yeah, he doesn't believe the best in people because if they're Jewish, he believes the worst in people. But yeah.
Let me
presented
respond.
with can see right from wrong.
Okay, very
and I
good.
thought foolishly that you were one of these people.
Very
I
good.
foolishly thought you could
You're
also
very
see right
good.
from wrong. But it's obvious to me that you have simply used what is going on for the past 16 months
Bro,
of
do you
horrific
want me to
mass
respond?
bombing and starvation
Hassan, you got
as a
to
tool
stop.
to
You got to
present
stop
yourself
with
as
the
a
fucking
victim.
with the gish galloping.
Not Al Jazeera. Where is this? There was a good TikTok of like today in Gaza or some shit like that. And it's like their markets are having a good fucking time. I won't find it, but yeah, there was a nice debunking of the whole like starvation in Gaza. Now, don't get me wrong, I believe that probably some people in Gaza are starving. I still blame it on Hamas. But you know what I find the most interesting? This no one complains about this. How many people starved in Yemen because of the Houthis? Went to check a house yesterday, so bad. Oh, crisis in Yemen, impact on children. Estimate 85,000 under the age of 5 may have died from extreme hunger in Yemen between April. This figure was reported. Yeah. But this is not the Houthis' fault, guys. This is not the Houthis' fault. This is the Saudis' fault, okay? Right. What was Syria? Dude, like there's so many, but it's like it's only a problem when there's a war with Jew, right? With the Jew. I didn't leave, lol, but I'm doing other things. I'm not gonna type here all day, just using... Oh, okay, never mind. Thank you for not leaving. I thought you did because you didn't reply to his joke about what you said. So, yeah. But, hey, thank you for staying. It's all good. It's all good. My misunderstanding. I can admit to a fault, unlike Hamas Spiker. Anyways, Nine Nations estimate that the conflict in Yemen has caused over 377,000 deaths. Nobody's out here blaming the Houthis. You know, the Houthis have been reported to restrict humanitarian aid in areas under their control. That's fantastic. Now, there's this retard bed in Canada who said that's like, oh, the reason they're doing it is because the Saudis, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, yeah, but they're restricting humanitarian aid to their own people, areas that they have control over. So it's like that area is no longer has anything to do with the Saudi blockades or whatever. That means you have the humanitarian aid in your area and you're not distributing it to like people who are not your competence. Great. What's it called? Civil, not even the Lebanon. We've already been. Syrian civil war death toll. Okay. Let's see how many people died here. All right. As of early 2025, Syrian civil war has resulted in an estimate. Oh, okay, 500,000 deaths. Damn. I never heard people. I guess because the Jew didn't kill them, so I mean it's not as important. It's only a problem when the Jew kills. Okay. Who is fighting in the Syrian civil war? What are the factions here? Let's see. The Syrian government, okay, and Syrian opposition and rebel groups. Okay, let's see. Kurdish, Islamic State. Damn, look at how all of these. Now these guys are definitely to blame. I'll mistake that I have a bias towards libertarian left because I have a bias towards libertarian left, but apparently I'm far right because of it. As I want there to be a good amount of social safety nets, and I want to maximize freedom given to the people. Dude, I 100% agree. I think most people would agree with you. But apparently, that is considered far right. Now, you might not agree on how to go about it, right? Because it's like, social safety nets are good, but if they're at the expense of certain people, maybe those people would disagree with you, or people who can see a problem with it. But I think most people would be like, hey, we need to help people who are in need, and we want to maximize freedom for the people. I think that is probably the most centrist mentality to have, right? But yeah, apparently that's far right. So we're Nazis essentially. Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Yeah, look. Oh, Israel has stayed out of the conflict, but has conducted airstrikes against Iran and Hezbollah targets in Syria. Yeah, that's happens because they are attacking Israel. But yeah, has mostly stayed out of the conflict. But you only hear about Israel attacking Hezbollah. You don't hear about none of these. Leftism at this point, we are so divided on execution. Yeah, basically we are. We are 100% divided on execution. And there's no even conversation, because as soon as you bring your point forward, you're either a fascist or you're a socialist. There's no in between. You can't make any argument, because it's just everything is the extreme. Everyone just makes assumptions all the way forward. It's oh, you're a far right Nazi. Ask me about stuff what do you call it? Abortion. You'd see I don't give a fuck about abortion. You want to have abortions? Good. I can still see the problem abortions have for society, but that doesn't mean I care about it. That's women have abortions or not. Just fucking, you want your body, your choice. I don't give a fuck. And it's not I have a different idea of what a life even means. So, yeah. But apparently I'm a far right extremist because I agree with some other points that the far right has about, immigration. That means I am just in this category of all of the, far right shit. It's fuck. Anyways.
I know. You're righteous and I'm evil. Let me respond. I agree with you. I think that my characterization of it as a utopia, in that moment, was distasteful, and I wish that I had said that differently. And I see that it came off bad. It came off bad, and I was wrong on that one. I totally agree.
As somebody who lived in Israel, Israel is far from a utopia. Your own people will fuck you in the ass, just as not as much because they won't kill you, but they would fuck you in the ass. I'm for easier immigration personally. I am, in terms of immigration, I am all for an easier immigration process, but that would have to that would have to come with certain conditions. So, for example, if you don't have a place to migrate them to safely, like that it will avoid impacting the population too much, then I'm all for stricter immigration, right? Obviously, when you have a place as, the best place to live in the world, the U.S., right, and not all states, certain states are the best place to live in the world, right? Do you want to share in the wealth? Yes, but you can't just let everyone in, because then the wealth will just expire instantly. So I'm true on the internet. I've been a part of many groups. Oh yeah, 100%. This is definitely an internet problem. Most of this discussion doesn't happen in the real world. Let me finish reading your comment. I'm part of many groups of people who had very different opinions politically, and a lot got done. Feeding homeless, getting homeless. 100%. This is 99% an internet thing, as Twitter thing. In the real world, most of the shit does not matter. But it's very interesting to talk about. I find it very entertaining. And I'm sure there are parts, maybe certain California areas that more like LA areas, where all the X users are located. Okay, if you are on X all day, your life has to be very lavish. Okay, if you are able to literally be on Twitter all day and type bullshit and propaganda all day, you must be living the life. It's because of people like Hassan, sadly. Yeah, I 100% agree. Right? Yeah, look, at the end of the day, this discussion, Ethan, Hassan, 99% of the world population doesn't even know about this. This doesn't actually matter. Right? In 10 years, in 100 years, this also doesn't matter, right? If we just start expanding the grand scheme of things, none of this matters, right? Realistically, right? I don't want to really go that far, but realistically, yeah, this it doesn't matter, right? The best example I have, and Mark here can attest to this, was stuff like red pill bullshit, right? Which is very entertaining to watch, and aside from because so. A bit of backstory. We used to go out 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We used to go out a lot. We used to work at a restaurant, so we would stay after hours, whatever. And we were watching a show, and we were really into pickup artistry, right? Not that we were long time ago in '94. That's right, Dave Chappelle. I wrote this song a long time ago. Anyways, so we were into this, we were taking tips, whatever, real social dynamics, fucking mystery, dude, what a character, right? Mystery and stuff like that. And we were implementing them to an extent, right? We're not going full degen, but basically the whole go talk to girls, yada yada yada. Peacocking was probably the dumbest shit, right? So you can use some stuff out of it, but you don't go full degen with these things. But they have to be full degen for the internet, because otherwise it's not interesting. If I just told you, it's hey man, in order to get good with girls, just go and talk to girls, right? And try to understand how not to be a creep, right? Just learn for yourself, go and interact with people and be more natural with it. That's not very interesting, but that is literally that is the key solution, right? Just go interact with people, stop being weird, so you don't act weird. But then you watch the real social dynamics and stuff like that, and it's you have to lie, you have to cheat, or whatever. This that's not the real world. That's not how it works, right? It's yeah, you might find the one off that it would work on, but really, that's not the fucking real world, right? All of these talks about the red pill and stuff, for example, it's just so it's not the real world, right? Oh, all these women are gold diggers. All these women are this, oh, men have to go their own way, passport bros, yada yada. It's bro, you can still find normal women. They exist in the real world. Maybe they don't exist in Miami and on TV shows. Maybe they don't exist on OnlyFans. Most of the girls you're gonna meet in the real world don't do OnlyFans. You know, like, this doesn't actually exist, right? All of these weird fucking problems, societal problems, right? They don't actually exist. But because people live on the internet, they think they exist, and then it's like, oh, well, men stop dating because they think all women are gold diggers. Bro, there's plenty of normal women out there. Plenty. Everyone has to lower their fucking standards. Anyways, I don't know how we got from that to this, but like, anyway, the internet is not real life, okay? As implemented as it is in our world, it is not real life.
Watching that clip
Thank
back,
you.
I'm regretful about how I spoke about it. So I agree with you.
Okay, that's fair. See, this is. I wish you were this open-minded for the past 16 months, Ethan, because
He was. See, here's Hassan is still blaming Ethan for his misunderstandings. I wish you were this open-minded, Ethan. But he was. He always stated, and again, I do not agree with Ethan at all. He always stated that Israel is committing a genocide. He's always stated that Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi, needs to go to jail. He always stated these things. But that is a part of Israel governance, and it has practically nothing to do with the Israeli citizens. Not all citizens agree. I mean, shit. Tel Aviv protests against war in Gaza. See, the thing is, you have all of these people who want to stop the war, right? Look how many fucking people that is. Fucking sardines, bro. They want to stop the war. Now, I don't agree with them. Right? I think for the future of Israel, this war needs to end one way. Or another, honestly. Like, this war needs to end end it. Like, it has to end. Not a ceasefire for Hamas to reorganize. This war needs to end. Okay? But not ceasefire. Ceasefire is all it's going to do is create another October 7. Okay, that's my personal opinion, having lived there and having to do fucking practices of going down to shelters once a month, okay? Like how you have fire safety once a month in the buildings here, you have to do shelter training in Israel once a month, okay, as a kid growing up. And you know what you are taught as a kid growing up in Israel? You have to learn Arabic so you can communicate with the people who want to kill you. You have to strive for peace with them. That's why we want you to be able to talk to them. When you're in the army, they teach you how to say to, like in Arabic, for a person to like stop before you shoot, how to try to de-escalate, shoot a shot in the air. Like, you have 3 different ways to make sure you are not hurting somebody unless you absolutely have to, while it's like 2 a.m. at night, super fucking dark. You're in the darkest of places in the desert. There's like no light, okay? And you see something moving in the darkness that could come, whose intention is come to kill you or kidnap you, and you have to give it so many chances while also risking your own safety because you are telling them exactly where you are by being loud, right? Obviously, that also notifies the base where you are, right? But you are telling the enemy, hey, I am here. Don't come any closer. Identify yourself, whatever, right? Not just shoot on sight, okay? Israel, from my lived experience there, has always strived to do the most it can to not even hurt the people who want to kill it, let alone the citizens of Gaza, okay? So people calling it a fucking genocide, it completely goes against my reality of what I was taught growing up in Israel and what pretty much everyone I know in Israel was taught growing up in Israel, okay? We were not taught to kill our enemies and all that shit. We were taught to try and understand them and try to communicate with them and try to strive for peace. And if you have a whole generation of kids, let's say, oh, it only started when you were growing up. You know what? Fine. But now you have a whole generation of kids who would not want to have war, right? With them, okay? my whole generation, who are now basically army men, right, 30 to 40 years old, right, who would strive to not have war with them because that is what they were educated to do, okay? Back when Itzhak Rabin was striving for peace. And by the way, I might disagree with that. I think that, peace through strength is probably the best way because nobody fucks around with you if you're stronger than them and you prove it. I'm not saying it's the only way. I'm saying it's the fastest way. I don't know. I don't think it's the only way, but it might be in some cases. Yeah, I mean, look, if there's like, if France and Britain could get peace amongst themselves while both are being like weak as fuck, then I think I think ideologies have to kind of to not clash. I mean, you cannot if your ideology of hey, we want peace and we don't want war, and the other ideology is, well, we want to kill you, to kill all of your race, like all the Jews, and death to the Western culture, and we will die on this hill. Yeah, there's not much room for anything else other than peace through strength. Not much. What else are you gonna do? Right? That is literally it feels like the only solution. These people don't want to talk. They only want to talk when they want to delay so they can rearm themselves to cause more October 7th. But you have plenty of people in Israel who, by the way, Hamas spiker would not mind if they all fucking died. Okay? If Hamas spiker had a button to kill every Jew in Israel, he would click it. He would click it on stream, actually. It's fucked up. So I'm pretty sure that the people in Palestine who are violent know full well that Israel is a million times more powerful. This only starts to strengthen their resolve. Isn't that big stick diplomacy? It is big stick diplomacy, but sometimes you need a big stick diplomacy. Yeah, so again, actually, no. You know why? Steven, sorry. I disagree. I'm pretty sure that the people in Palestine who are violent know full well that Israel is a million times more powerful. Here's the problem. Israel is a million times more powerful. However, Israel is not allowed to use its strength against them. Because every time they do, you have a retaliation from all over the world calling it a genocide. They are literally losing the public perception war, not the actual war. That is the problem. And I'll tell you this right now. October 7th happens. October 8th, they fucking destroy all of Gaza. What's today? May 10th, 2025? Nobody's even talking about it anymore. It's done. Yeah, people would cry about it for a month. It would be done. I'm not saying that would be the right course of action. I'm not going to blame every Gazan civilian. I'm just saying people don't care about it as much. The longer this war goes on, the more Israel will lose the public perception war because they are stronger. But being stronger doesn't help if you're not allowed to use your strength. Can Israel completely demolish Gaza in a day? Yes. Can they actually do it though? No. Right? Even blowing up empty buildings filled with artillery fire and ammunition is getting them you guys are genocidal maniacs. How many people died in Gaza since October 7, 2023? So May 10th, estimate indicate. Okay, so over 62,000. Let's even say 65,000. Okay, so you have 65,000. Okay, now there was a report. Is it true that 74% of the casualties in Gaza were military-aged men? or middle-aged men is contested and varies depending on the source. Okay, so there was a claim. Initially reported that approximately 7% of those killed were women and children. However, in April 25, they revised these figures, removing 3,400 alleged a study by the Palestinian Center for Human Rights found that over 75% of the fatalities were males aged 15 or higher. Okay, so a group that comprises about 25% of Gaza's population. This suggests a disproportionate number of deaths among adult males. Okay, cool. So 25%. Right. Let's even go with let's go with the 70% figure. Okay. So we have what, 65,000 we said? Okay, so 65,000 times, 0.3. Okay, so you had in a year and a half, basically, right, slightly more, in a year and a half of combat, only 20,000 of the people died. In an urban area, only 20,000 were non-combat age men. Pretty fucking good statistics. Okay. And you can say, like, oh, 20,000, whatever. Okay, like, yeah, I mean, like, it sucks, sure. But it's definitely not genocide. Okay, population of Gaza before October 7th and today. Genocide. Okay, prior to the conflict, 2.23 million. Okay, and by the end of, okay, so 2.1 million. Yeah, that's really hard to say this is a genocide in a year and a half of bombing and destroying so much, right? That this is all you lost. Like, that's not a genocide, okay? Like, barely, okay? Was it 10%? That's nothing, okay? So, like, genocide meaning intentional act to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial group. Yeah, so again, if we all agree that Israel has the power, because it's, as you said, a million times more powerful. It's not a million, but let's say thousands times more powerful than Hamas, okay? We can probably all agree that Israel could have destroyed Gaza in a day if they wanted to. And if they're already committing genocide, then fuck it, just go all the way. Yeah, kind of doesn't fit the criteria here. Genocide includes any of the following acts committed: killing members of the group. I mean, yeah, well, that's going to happen in the war. Serious environmental harm, probably going to happen, but again, that's war. Deliberately inflicting conditions of life, to bring about its physical destruction. Not deliberately, and they are being supplied with a ton of humanitarian aid. Imposing measures to prevent births from within the group. No measures are being imposed to prevent births. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Yep, not happening. Okay, so yeah, like, let's be honest, if they really want to commit genocide quickly, they can destroy them with one bomb, forget one day. Not one bomb, because one bomb would also, like, impact Israel as well. But, like, yeah, maybe 4 bombs. Either way, yeah. If they really want to commit genocide, they would have just destroyed Gaza Strip, right? And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, if they did on October 8th just actually went out of the way and committed fucking genocide, you would not be hearing complaints about it on May 10th, 2025. You wouldn't. People would forget in a month. Like, people would stop talking about it in a month. People would just not care anymore. You wouldn't see a single video come out. Not by now. So, like, calling it genocide is just, in my opinion, fucking stupid. Okay? The amount of bombing that Israel did to only cause 23,000 actual, like, non-combat aged men deaths is ridiculous. They threw more bombs than they killed people. Both sides. Yes, both sides. Like, it's a war. You, like, I cannot say that one side is, now I think America would withhold its support for Israel. No, it wouldn't. Also, by the way, this whole, like, which would in the long term weaken Israel because of other countries around it. So America would not withhold its support. And here's the funniest thing. This is the argument that like people are saying. It's like, oh, America should withhold its support from Israel because Israel's committed a genocide. If you limit support to Israel and its supplies of defensive capabilities will go down, Israel will have to stop being so precise with its attacks and will have to start going scorched earth because they will be more limited in their supply and every bullet will have to start to count. So reducing support to Israel because it's committing genocide will actually create more genocide because then Israel will not be able to hold itself back. And also, the US is not giving support to Israel one-sidedly. I will not withhold support from Israel because at least from what I see, most Americans are strongly for Israel. I don't even think, I agree with you. I don't even think that really matters. The whole point of alliances is mutual benefits. The whole point of alliances is mutual benefits. US is not helping Israel because it's a nice thing to help Israel. It is getting something out of it, right? Israel has been supplying, a lot of technology in terms of medicine, in terms of, army capabilities. I forgot the name, army technologies. Hamas, yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's not like US is not doing Israel a favor by giving it support. Okay, it's a mutually beneficial agreement, right? And this mutually beneficial agreement actually is what's preventing Israel from completely demolishing Gaza, right? So, I understand the argument that people make for it, but like if I think a bit deeper into it, it's like I don't know. It kind of falls flat on its face from my perspective, right? I could be wrong. But if somebody is pushed to the wall and it doesn't have a lot of ammunition, it's gonna start destroying more. See, they have no real reason to destroy Gaza. They don't have a reason. They will be rebuilding it anyways. But like, they only want Hamas. Hamas is refusing to surrender, and like, does anyone think that Hamas is gonna win this war? I don't think Hamas thinks it's going to win this war. Nobody thinks Hamas can win this war. So if you're not going to win this war, and your duty as the governing body to protect your civilians, your best course of action is to surrender at this point. You know you are losing this. There's no way to avoid this. The only way you avoid more casualties is to surrender and release the hostages. Okay? Like, Israel will take control of Gaza regardless of what Hamas does. They can fight tooth and nail, or they can just surrender and save more civilian lives. These are the only options for Hamas. Obviously, they're just hoping that international pressure is gonna make Israel stop like it did many times before. And many times, because it stopped, is what caused October 7th. Why save civilians if you don't care about them? That is the Hamas way. Civilians are just nice little propaganda machines, right? The more civilians Israel will kill, the better it is for Hamas. Because the more international pressure would be on Israel to stop the war. A commodity, yeah, basically. So, yeah. If you want less civilian casualties, you want the US to keep supporting Israel. Now, if you live in the US and you're like, well, I don't want to support the war, I don't want anything to do with Israel and like whatever, and like I'm America first and we should stop involving ourselves with wars, I totally agree with you. However, you do have to consider what it means to be America first, because you might not know all the benefits the US is getting from the mutual alliance. Maybe having Israel exist and having Mossad agents in all of the fucking countries that want to destroy the US is a benefit big enough for America for them to keep supporting Israel. Right? There are certain benefits you can't really put a monetary value. But if you are thinking America first, because this is the best thing for America, you might actually be in favor of the alliance. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying maybe this alliance is beneficial enough to the US that actually having the alliance is technically America first. You can view it that way. If you just want to, isolate yourself from the world, that's a different thing. That doesn't mean America first. That means I want to isolate myself from the world. That's two different things. Okay? It might coincide with America first, but not necessarily. Usually, you can't just step away from the world and, everything will be good. No, the other countries will start moving on without you. You want to integrate yourself into other locations. You want to have an intelligence network. Very common thing seen in history is that there is always a reason for a country or person to do something. I mean, yes. The thing is with justifications is I can always you can always find justification for anything. Everybody has a justification for something. Sometimes the justification is not great, but you can justify something. It's we want to grow our empire because then we'll be safer. It's well, I understand your point of view. Doesn't mean that I agree with it. Doesn't mean you're justified. Doesn't mean that your power hunger is actually correct. But sure, my favorite sentence, especially lately, is every villain has a backstory. No. So yeah, just because you're justified, it's you were treated poorly as a kid, you were starving, you whatever. It's yeah, everything can be justified. We're all humans. It all comes down to reasons and stuff. But it's just because it's justified doesn't mean it's fair. It's a good thing. Okay. It's this whole the land of Israel is belonging to Palestinians or whatever, and it's why, how. They clearly couldn't defend it. So why, under what right does it belong to them? Because they lived there? Boo fucking who? Many people lived in some place and they were forced to move. Okay? In that case, the US belongs to the Indians. Even the ones that they killed. Canada belongs to the natives. Sorry, not Indians, to the natives. Right? Canada belongs to the natives as well. Right? All Americans should go back to Europe. Or Mexico at this point, or all Canadians should go back to India because that's where most guns are. Do you think your anti-Palestine views are common in Ukraine? I have no idea. I think Ukraine has bigger problems than to think about Palestine right now. Why would they be common in Ukraine? Ukraine has its own problems. Ukraine has much bigger problems than fucking than a conflict of Israel-Gaza. I don't think Ukrainians give a shit about Palestine right now. Straight up. It's I think they care more about Russia right now than they care about Palestine. Why would I mean, theoretically, it should be because US support, but practically they do not care. It should be because US supports, but practically they do not care. Sorry, history. Can you elaborate a bit? Very common things in history is that there's always a reason. Yeah. If you can elaborate, because I just I've went on multiple tangents right now. I'm trying to connect to what you're talking about. Oh god. Do you dude? I'm sorry. This was hilarious. Do you think your anti-Palestine views are common in Ukraine? I'm sorry. That is actually really funny. Oh my god. Yeah. Do you think they're relevant on Mars too? It's what the fuck? If you provide support to country, they will be more likely to support your views in order to not lose that aid. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can view it as a carrot and a stick, right? I'm going to support you, but I want you to, but because I'm supporting you, you are more likely to support what I do, right? If you're friends with somebody, you're more likely to support them in public. Let's just say it like that. They're not relevant for Ukrainian people, then why are you talking about it? You're Ukrainian. I'm also Israeli. I'm sorry. the men who like, I'm trying to understand how you even went to the, like, I get that I'm Ukrainian, I'm also Israeli, but like, what does that have to do with the arguments I made? Bro decided to dig the grave a little deeper. It isn't relevant to me. I am a white person from Tennessee. And yet I'm here. You guys type it out. I gotta go to the washroom real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Let me just move the chat here so it's on stream. Bro decided to dig. It is relevant to me, and yet I am here. Okay, here we go. The man who likes has the same level of thinking as Hamas biker. I just want to know if I should give a fuck about Ukraine, because if they are mostly pro-Israel, then Russia can take their land for all I care, because that is some hypocritical bullshit. I think you should make your own decision rather than... Okay, it's like, based on your thinking, and I'm going to read the rest of it, but based on your thinking, should gays for Palestine not care about Palestinians then? Because Palestinians murder gays like on like a regular Tuesday. Right? They throw them off buildings. So should gays for Palestine not care about Palestinians? I think you should just make your own decision if you care about them or not. What does Ukraine have to do with the subject at hand? He is Ukrainian, so I thought he might know. The question stands. The question just fell. They should care so much that they pay them a visit and then revalidate your plan. Yeah, personally, I think I understand how you're connecting because I'm Ukrainian. Just because I'm Ukrainian, okay. Let me put it to you this way. I'm Ukrainian Israeli. If Israel somehow falls tomorrow, I would come to the, I would accept it as reality within less than a week. I'll be like, okay, it sucks. Life moves on. Same with Ukraine, Russia. I am pretty much a nihilist. Like, I don't really care too much who's right or wrong. I think both sides can be right and wrong at the same time. I think reality of the world is empires fall, and shit happens, okay? Yeah, both sides have pros and cons. I am not going to judge. I'm judging actions and causes. I don't really care which side wins in like a whole grand big scheme of things. Like my life is not gonna fall apart if Israel loses or if Gaza loses. I'm just talking about what's good, what's bad, objective, trying to be as objective as I can. Yeah, there will never be a perfect side. I can be 100% for Israel and still agree that, personally, I don't think Bibi will go to jail. I don't know if he should. I don't know enough about why he should, unless he did like some very shady shit regarding October 7th, right? But like, if he's judged legally and he goes to jail, I'm not going to be like, oh no, free Bibi. It's like, okay, well, that's what happened. Both siding Israel-Palestine is like both siding with the Nazis and the Jews. How? How so? I love this. How so? So you're gonna be saying that like Israel's committing genocide. We're just gonna disagree on that premise, right? So if we disagree on the premise of genocide, we just cannot agree about going into the Nazis. And even if there was a genocide, we can still not agree about going into the Nazis. A colonial state that is committing a genocide in the native population is always wrong. See, yeah, like I said, we're just not going to agree on the genocide. And, can you name a state that is not colonial? All of Europe has been like in all of Europe at this point. Everyone is a colonial state at this point. Israel is just probably like the most recent colonial state, but everyone's a colonial state. And every state committed a genocide, so should we just revoke their right to exist? It just depends how far back you want to go. That means all the states in the world are wrong. Being colonial in the past is not the same as currently being a colony. These European countries gave back the colonies to the natives. No, they didn't. They actually like the countries that gave back the colonies to the natives. Like let's say you have a native colony in Canada, you have native reservation areas, whatever in the U.S., whatever they're like, however you want to call it. If the U.S. wanted, they can just go and take it back. They're literally like, if you want to talk about apartheid, they are literally apartheid. What about the native populations that were completely destroyed? That too, yeah, like they were also destroyed. Like some were destroyed. And this is honestly because, like, again, people are defending the, like, and I agree with you with some point. Like if we want to be like super humanitarian, the British aren't still in India. The British are not in India, not because they gave it back, just because the fucking British Empire fucking fell. Okay, the Dutch aren't still in Indonesia. Israel is still in Palestine. Again, why? So you think that Palestine exists? Who was the prime minister or president of Palestine? Who was the Palestinian representative? You think the people can actually control the land? When? Now Hamas is in power. Okay, so first of all, before Hamas, but they're in Israel. Okay, I want to dig into his argument. Like I don't want to start being like too confrontational. Just want to ask some questions. Hamas is in power in Gaza. Okay, Gaza was given back by Israel. Okay, so it was like 1967 is when the first Palestinian land, to an extent, like, if you want to call it that, was even. Israel doesn't exist. It's as valid as the Nazis occupying Poland. If Nazi Germany won the war, would people be saying that Nazi occupied Poland is not Nazi Poland? Would they say that it belongs to the Polish people? if the Nazis won the war, do you think Poland would belong to the Polish? Or do you think it would belong to Nazi Germany? They won the war for a while and then lost it. Yeah, but if they didn't lose, who would Poland belong to? Polish people? You really think so? That if Nazi Germany won the war and took over Europe, do you think it would belong to Polish people? Yes, are you really legitimizing Nazi? No, I'm not legitimizing it. I'm legitimizing power. Power is what controls locations. If you cannot defend your land is not yours to defend. I'm not legitimizing anything. Is it correct to think of Israel conflict as a religious war due to it being about who has the right to the land? You can think about that way. Personally, I think it's just a war for territory. I do not like the argument of, well, we were here first, so it's ours. My only argument for occupying a land is you have to be able to defend it. If you cannot defend the land, either by your own means, having friends that can help you defend it, anything like being able to defend the land will define it as your land. If the whole world wanted Poland to stop existing and actively went to war against Poland, there would be no Poland. Because the one who has power decides who controls what. And this argument is like real for the whole world. Then Poland is getting bullied in this conversation. Yeah, well, because you already brought it up. Okay. The point is, I am not going to protest the British owning India because they agree it is bad and that this is a horrible part of history and it won't undo the past. They already left. Israel is a different story. They are currently a colony committing a genocide and increasing territory their state needs to go. Well, again, we can moral hypothesize of who needs to go or what. The problem is, can you make it go? It doesn't matter if you think Israel is in the right or wrong, realistically speaking. If Palestinians, if Gaza cannot make Israel leave, and nobody can make Israel leave, then it doesn't matter what you think. Then Israel will stay. And also, since we're talking about won't undo the past, now you're just like switching the goalposts from who is right to what will happen in the future. No, I never switched it. I always, okay, this is the only way I am thinking. Might makes right. If you cannot win this war, if you lose your territory because you couldn't defend your own territory, this territory is no longer yours. Might makes right. This is, laws of the jungle, however you want to call it. This is the truth of the world. Okay? If the whole world didn't want Gaza to exist and no government, no power in the world would go against Israel, okay, if for destroying Gaza, Gaza would not exist. My only argument is might makes right. When you brought the Nazi and Poland argument, if Nazi Germany won the war, Nazi Germany would control the territory. If Israel wins this war, Israel controls this territory. It's not much more complicated than that. Morality really plays no role in war. Only strength plays role in war. Morality is just there. My message got blocked. Sorry about that. I don't know why. I'm not blocking messages unless you do something like against TOS. Could be the bot if there's like caps or like certain words. So yeah, sorry about that. I do not believe in morality in war. Morality is used as a propaganda tool for the people to pressure politicians to end the war. The fact that you have to abandon morality itself to agree with Israel shows a lot. No, I abandon morality when it comes to war because morality plays no role in war. I literally, I gave you the exact same argument about Nazi Germany, and I'm a Jew. Nazi Germany would kill me instantly. But they would be in control if they won the war. Okay, so by that logic then, what did Hitler do wrong until he lost? He lost. That's what he did wrong. Because if he won, we would all be like hailing Hitler first thing in the morning. That's what he did wrong. He lost. If he won 100 years ago, like whatever, 80 years ago, we would all be, we would, first of all, we wouldn't be here. But the people who would be hailing Hitler and saying he was right. I am for the two-state solution as an intermediary period. I wouldn't be here either, yeah. I am for the two-state solution as an intermediary period for diplomacy. Truly, I think the citizens do not want war, and the two states... Citizens never want war. Citizens are not the ones advocating for war most of the time. Truly, I think the citizens do not want war, and the two-state solution could be a good way to achieve that, at least in my opinion. I'm not the most educated person on this topic. I don't think two-state solution works when one state wants the destruction of the other state. If they were both reasonable sides, then I would agree. You were a Jew in Nazi Germany before you knew he would lose in the future. Would you say you should be gassed? It's not about should be gassed or not. Of course, I would want my survival to like... I would advocate for my survival, for sure. And I would cry that it's wrong, trying to get help from somebody. But if I can't get help, I would be dead. And he would live. And they would live. Right? Like I said, might makes right, but might comes in many forms. It's diplomacy, it's communication, right? If I can convince the world, let's say I am Nazi Germany, and the whole world doesn't want to fight me, the whole world does not resist me, and I just go and take Poland, right, and nobody retaliates, then 100 years from that point, people in Poland will speak German. And nobody would care who was right, who was wrong. It doesn't matter. Right? It would be sucked to get gassed. And yes, they might be morally wrong. But I would be dead and they would flourish. And 100 years from now, nobody would know my name that I got gassed. They would be like, well, we have such a great Nazi German country. Right? Yeah, might makes right. If Germany controlled the whole world and everybody woke up in the morning saying Heil Hitler, they would be in the right. Try to not apply human morality to everything because it's so subjective. What is this logic, mate? You don't care about morals. Why are you debating Hassan and his stance anyways? Why do you even have an issue with Hamas then if you have this objective worldview where nothing matters? So, nothing matters in the grand scheme of things is my worldview. However, I still think that... How should I explain this, man? Why do you have an issue with Hamas then? Realizing that something is wrong doesn't mean that... Fuck, man. How do I explain this? I can see that something is wrong. I can see that Nazi Germany is wrong. I'm saying that if Nazi Germany won, the conclusion of that would be that we would be doing Heil Hitler in the morning. That doesn't mean that I think it is right from my standing right now. It just means that that would be the case if that happened. Why am I applying morals to Hamas then? I'm not. I think it's a fantastic strategy to use your civilians when you're losing a battle. I think it's a fantastic strategy. I think it is morally problematic. I think that if Israel stops having the war because they don't want to hurt civilians, I think that's the only way Hamas can win. I think Israel should not stop the war, and even at the cost of civilians. Can understand abstract concept? I find it interesting. I just find it interesting. I like where he's going. I like that his morals are more superior to just like abstract logic. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, the man who I'm just gonna say it like this. We can view stuff as wrong, and we are right to view stuff as wrong. I'm saying that at the end of the day, we also have to come to the realization that reality exists. And if you cannot win, if you cannot defend your own property, your land, whatever, you will not have that land for long. Both can be at the same time. It might be wrong to do war, right? War is evil. Shit happens at war. We can all agree that war is bad. But if you don't agree that whoever has the right to defend their own land and the power to do so, right? If you are able to defend your land and you have the power to defend your land, you have the power to keep your land yours, you essentially will not lose that land. Morality will not win you this war because you're only viewing morality also from one side. It's not a view he can't understand and answer. Talk to right-wingers because I just want to hear their views. It is like a curiosity. If you disregard their views, then that can create problems. That has been creating problems. No issue with this, with his opposing view. I agree. Again, I can agree that, I don't agree with terminologies like genocide, whatever. I can agree that it sucks that civilians die. I can agree that war sucks. But I can also agree that, listen, Israel controls that land, and if you don't have the power to defy their control, then you need to come to terms with it. Otherwise, you're just asking to be killed. Nazis don't have a right to defend their land. Yes, they do. Israel doesn't have a right to defend their land. Yes, they do. The Dutch... Okay, go back to 1939, to 1940, okay? Go back to 1940, march up to Nazi Germany and tell them, you guys don't have the right to defend your land. Tell me how that works out for you. Not just a civilian, man. That's Israel. Having Hamas bases near houses, you have whatever right you can back up. So no country has sovereign... No country has sovereignty. No. Because you can always find an argument of some human violations that discredit your right to the land. Not that you just have power to defend it. They're not using civilians, man. No, they're not using civilians. Of course not. We didn't see the video of the Hamas terrorists just grabbing a child and running with it to avoid sniper fire. We didn't see that video. No. Is having Hamas bases near houses? No. It's not near houses. It's inside and under houses. It's not human shields. Okay. Hakiria is surrounded by schools too. Israel is literally making Palestinians walk in front of them to trigger bombs. That is real human shields. Israel is literally making Palestinians walk in front of them to trigger bombs. Okay. Haven't seen that. If they do, that's atrocious. That shouldn't happen. You should not be just walking citizens onto minefields to blow up the mines. I think that is bad. Doesn't have a right to defend their land. Reply. Just because they are physically able to do something doesn't mean they have the right to do it. No, that's actually exactly what it means. Rights are not given to you. Rights are taken and defended. Because if you are physically able to do something and get away with it, I'm sorry. That's how it is. If I can rape a woman and get away with it, doesn't mean I have the right to for rape. It just means you won't be prosecuted for it. let me put it this way, because I hate this example, but if men could rape women, fuck man, this is a fucking hard topic. If men could do it and get away with it, if it was legal to do so, you would have a lot of rapes in your society. A whole lot. And we've seen this across human societies before. When you had bandits pillaging villages. Okay, so just because Israel won't be prosecuted for doing a genocide doesn't mean they have the right to do so. That is exactly what it means. If you have no consequences for doing something, that means you are allowed to do it. Same for the Nazis and the Holocaust. Yes, if nobody fought the Nazis would have the freedom to do whatever the fuck they want. Do whatever you want. It is just not guaranteed that you won't have consequences. What does the right to do, in your opinion, mean? Based on your logical, nobody has any right to anything. Dude, rights are not given. They're earned, okay? And they're defended with power. There are no such thing as human... You're not born to this world with human rights. Okay? Somebody is defending the rights that you have as a child, as a baby, whatever. There's no such thing as a right. It is but it is defended with force. Everything is defended with force. You want the right to have something, be able to defend it. All backed up by M16s, F-22s, B-1s, submarines, and nuclear weapons. Basically, yeah. No, the idea of rights. I feel like this is the problem with Western society. They think you are born with some right. Right means it is morally permissible. What is morality? Not that you are able to use power to do something. You are born with inherent... No, you are not born with any inherent morals. No. You are born as a blank check, as a sponge. Power to do something. You are born with inherent morals, rights, even if you can't defend them. This is an inherently nihilistic, atheistic, immoral worldview. I'm talking to you about reality. If you only have the rights you're able to defend. The only reason, well, not the only reason, obviously some people just don't like causing pain onto others, and that's fine. But the only reason you don't have, based on your example, the whole raping thing, the only reason that is not happening in society as a regular basis is because there is a force that prevents it. Countries that can't defend their rights are having civil wars. Privilege given by the state. That's so abstract and esoteric. Your parents defend your rights in this world until you earn your rights every day in a society you vote to stay and live and prosper in. Yeah. For example, okay, the men who sorry, I don't want to get your name. The men who okay, I want to ask you a question. By the stuff you are saying, I can see you are a nihilist, an atheist, and that you do not give a singular fuck about any country getting bombed to the ground. No, I care about it, not to the point that I'm losing sleep over it. I can agree that something sucks. But let me ask you something, because we're on this discussion of rights. Do you live US or Europe or something, Western world, first world country? Where do you live, if you don't mind me asking? Okay, Saudi Arabia. Okay. Do you have certain rights in Saudi Arabia? I just don't know enough about the rights. Do you have certain rights in Saudi Arabia? Yeah, stop attacking him, man. It's fine. He wasn't offensive. He has a viewpoint. That's fine. No need to attack him. Rights by what? By law? Just any rights. Do you have any rights? When you are there, do you have any rights? Rights for free speech, right for, I don't know. Any rights. I don't know. I just don't know enough about Saudi Arabia. I don't know how it's run. Okay, give me a certain right that you have. Well, you can't come up to me and run. Okay, so you have the right of self-preservation, right? Okay. I don't have the right to come and kill you. Okay. No, let's say, right? Let's like fucking guy. Let's okay. So you don't have the. I don't have the right to come kill you. Okay. If I throw you into the jungle, okay. In like where's that place with all the drug dealers? Fuck. The place that is run like by like jungle warriors. Fuck. What is the place? Is Colombia that is just run by like drug dens or some shit like that? Yeah, Colombia. Okay. If I throw you into the jungle in Colombia and people just like the drug dealers are just come and kill you, do you think your right is being defended there? Do you think anyone will go there and defend your right to not be murdered? Does it exist? Do you think anyone's gonna be prosecuted if I threw you in the middle of Colombia and the drug dealers just came and killed you? See, I think this is where we're gonna disagree. Rights have to be defended. There's no such thing as in my opinion, there's no such thing as an undefended right. If you cannot defend a right, then you don't have that right. Why is that relevant? I'm saying different places have different laws. And if nobody's supporting or defending your right or your laws, then that right or law doesn't actually exist. It is given to you by the place where you live. Okay? You have there's a force that is defending your right. If the force didn't exist, you would not have that right. That's what I'm saying. It's not I mean, you can view it as an atheist idea because, like, yeah, if you believe in God. But again, okay, you know what? Let's view it that way. You believe in God. So you believe that there is a power that is giving you these rights. Okay? But that also means you don't, like, you believe that this world is inconsequential because there's the second world, so, like, the second life. Therefore, like, whatever happens here, as long as you're morally right, like, by God, then you're fine. Yes, that is an atheist idea. I'll agree with you. I don't believe there is a soul. I don't believe you're going anywhere after that. But that also still actually encourages my point. Because you believe that you have this godly protection of a second life, that's why you believe you have these rights, because God is protecting these rights. So yes, if I don't believe that there is a God, right, that there's a higher power, that is literally what's called a higher power that would enforce these moral and rights, then yeah, my point would still stand. So again, so there's a force defending your rights into the next world. That's why I keep saying I can tell you. No, I know. Like I never said I'm religious. I think religion is a good thing for society, for like vast majority of people, right? I don't act on like, you know, like just go and bash people's head, and I don't act on this. Some people who are atheists will act on it. Hey, some people who are religious act on it. So I mean, like, you know. You can view it as it is. Yeah, I am an atheist, right? So it's like, yeah, we'll but even so, right? Yeah, I think religion is a fantastic tool to civilize a population, right? Believing that there's something outside of this world bigger than man that is defending you and like will put like the justice does exist in the form of a higher power, and it will bring justice upon the infidels and shit like that. No, not even early civilization. Look at like what's happening in the US with all the fucking riots and shit about like the dumbest stuff. I think every society needs some like a good chunk of religion. Not like, it doesn't have to be like super force, yeah? Yeah, bro, all the homosexuals and transgenders in the Western world are totally not an issue. They are. I agree with you. It is an issue. I don't like when you're pushing an agenda that contradicts reality, that is an issue. And again, I think religion is a good force against that, right? Like, I'm totally agreeing with you. I think society needs religion. I think religion is a good thing. It doesn't mean that I have to be religious to adhere to like Judeo-Christian values. I agree to Judeo-Christian values on like a logical basis, not so much because of God. Right? I believe I shouldn't kill a person because then that can come back to bite me in the ass. The man who like, do you believe someone can be moral without religion? See, I believe people. Well, I don't really care if you can be moral or not. I think you can act morally right, like morally correct, without religion, though. I don't think you have to actually be moral. I think you can come to a lot of logical conclusions about morality without being religious. Like, straight up. You don't have to be religious to come to a conclusion like why you shouldn't steal or why you shouldn't kill. Right? Because if everyone killed and if everyone steals, society will crumble. That doesn't have to be religious. That's just like logic. Would they not gain their moral value from the environment? Look at the guy streaming. Might brings right. This guy only cares about... No, I don't. I don't give a fuck about Palestinians dying unless you physically place him in Gaza. Okay. What's your point? People die all the time, bro. Like, literally, people die. Right now, we talked, probably like 1,000 people died. Somewhere, regardless of war. And regardless of their human rights. I'm sure a woman just got raped somewhere. Somewhere in the world. What do you want to do about it? Do you, like, I'm not good, like, yeah, atrocities happen. Yeah. Welcome to the real world. Like, atrocities happen every second. Some woman just got groped on the Japanese Japanese train. Some, bro, probably like half of like a stadium just got groped in a Japanese train. Okay. What are we talking about here? Guys, I think you understand my point, though. It's fine if you don't agree with me. People die all the time, bro. Hitler is alright. No, I never said Hitler is alright. Oh my god. Okay, last point, okay? Hitler is alright, bro. I'm sure a few Jews just got killed somewhere else in the world anyways. Who cares, bro? Send them to the gas chambers. That is what this guy would be saying if he wasn't a Jew but a German. Again, I'm not saying these things are not bad. Of course they're bad. What? I'm saying that if no one went out of their way to fight the Germans, you would have a Nazi Germany right now all over Europe. Or even the US would be hailing Hitler at this point. Which, funny enough, some of them are, you know. Have you seen the new Kanye song? Hell yeah. It's not a matter of who cares. It's a matter of can you do something about it. It's not a matter of who cares. If I cared about it, I would go back to Israel and enlist myself. If I cared about it. If you care about Palestinians, why aren't you going to Gaza? Why aren't you fighting your way? You know, why aren't you doing something? It's like the question is a matter of like how much do you care realistically? I can care about it and say it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean like, you know, like it doesn't mean much. It's like I'm just a random dude who's living in Canada right now. I can see stuff are bad, but like, what do you want to do about it? Cry about it? It's the same logic I can use. Like, well, if you're crying about it, go and do something about it. Like, go do actual physical stuff. Don't just complain about it. Go do something. I'm not gonna complain about a reality I can't change. You're selectively using the might makes right logic to remove value from bad. I'm not selectively. I am always using might makes right. I judge everything by might makes right. Unless I can do something physical about it. And by the way, me doing something physical about it is also might makes right. If I have the power to stop something, I will exercise my power, my might, to stop something. Might makes right is a rule of life. Like, it's always about that. The might makes right logic to remove value from bad stuff that you're biased against. Also, when did I remove value when I said that if Nazi Germany won the war or no one resisted Nazi Germany, Polish people would not be Polish anymore. They would be Nazi Germany people. I'm not using it selectively. I view Nazi Germany as a bad thing. So I'm literally saying Nazi Germany would have the right to do whatever the fuck it wants if no one resisted it. Why are you talking about Hassan? Do you think you can stop him with your two views? Bro, because like I'm having a conversation here. I'm enjoying a conversation. What do you mean, what is the goal? I'm having fun. Are you not having fun? I like this conversation we're having. You're being respectful to me. You disagree with me. That's cool. This is fun for me. That's why am I doing anything, really? It's interesting. Like that's all there is. Like what else is there? It's interesting. Yeah, obviously if I could make a living off of it, it would be great, obviously, but like I don't know, man. Like I find like it's just an interesting topic to talk about. It's a topic I actually have some knowledge about, that I can share my experiences with, that I can converse, because it's a controversial topic, so I can converse with people with multiple views. I can see their point of view. I can talk about point of views. I think this was very fun. It got me a bit emotional, got me engaged. I don't feel like I wasted time. I feel like this was actually like entertaining and good. That's all there is to it. So do you still think colonization is bad then? I never thought colonization... Okay, so is colonization bad? It's as bad as just like killing people, sure. It's not... I don't... Is it bad? I can see it being bad. But I can see it being good for the colonizers, right? So, you know, it's bad for the people being colonized. It's good for the people colonizing. It has very little to do with me. I'm not being colonized. If I was being colonized, I would try to stop it. And if I wouldn't have the power, then that would be the reality of the situation. I think they're both morally correct for both sides. The colonized are morally correct to defend their land, and the colonizer is morally correct to defend their stance of colonizing because they might need it for their own survival. How do I think that? Because I can view it from both perspectives. I can view it from both sides. Jews need Israel for their own survival, so they're morally correct in having that land and defending it. Simple as that. I can understand why you don't want to be colonized, but if you didn't want to be colonized, you should have worked on your strength to defend that land. Which, by the way, Palestinians never controlled that land to begin with. Yeah, they kind of need Israel. Because we've seen what happens in Europe. We've seen what's happening right now in the US. They literally need Israel. They can move to literally any country in the world and be fine. Weren't they annexed from every Arab country? Weren't they constantly massacred and abused in European countries? Aren't they being protested harshly against in US and Canada? US is a sim for Jews? US is a sim for Jews, bro.
I don't understand. Why not? Why do we go away? Tell me to go away. Tell them to go away.
Another.
Where is it? U.S. is a sim for Jews? Really? Jews are safe in the U.S.? He has a colonial leg on his back. So, I thought there's free speech in the U.S. Or you just don't have free speech if you're a Jew. You see? Is he safe though? Well, he's not safe to go where he wishes to go in a free campus that allows you to go to wherever you go. So that means you're okay with apartheid type of, like with a two-level citizenship, right? Jews have less rights than everyone else because they're Jew. But in your opinion, Jews are safe because they have less rights. If I go with a Nazi flag on a campus, I will be made to leave too. No, you wouldn't. Only if you disturb other people. Only if you disturb other people. You can wear a swastika shirt, a swastika, a sigil, and walk around with a swastika flag. Unless you are disturbing other people, okay, then we're just not going to agree. They lived together in Muslim years, but not under Muslim, okay? Also, they had neo-Nazis literally exist in America. Yeah, true. They lived together in Muslim years under the Ottomans. Okay, to explain to me the rights the Jews had under the Ottoman Empire. In Europe, they lived under Muslims just fine. Just fine. They were second-rate citizens, if not third-rate citizens. They were not just fine. If the government decided one day that's like, hey, we're tired of the Jews, no Jews. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They couldn't run for government. They had lesser rights. What are you talking about? They had the same rights. No, they didn't. And again, if the Ottomans decided we are tired of the Jews and decide to kill them all, who would defend the Jews? There were Jews in the Ottoman government structure to represent the Jews that no one listened to. That's great. Yeah, you give them a representation so that it would seem like they have a presentation, but no one actually took you seriously. Yeah. Joint government, they are safe, bro. They are safe because the Ottomans don't want to kill them. They have no autonomy over their safety. Their safety, if your safety is entirely dependent on like people who might just want to kill you, then you're not safe. Like, if you cannot change that fact. Want to kill the Jews, they could. Yeah, you can say that about literally everyone, including the Jews. The Jews want to kill themselves, they could too. What is this logic? The likelihood of Jews want to kill all the other Jews is very low. Do you think Jews should not govern themselves? Do you think they should be secondary to a third party? Do you think they should give away their safety to a party that doesn't relate to them? Aren't safe anywhere because all countries could kill Christians if they wanted to. Christians are not safe in Arab countries. You're right. Christians are safe in Christian countries. You're 100% correct. Want to do so, we need to colonize Africa and make a white ethno-state. I don't understand your argument. Yeah, Christians are not safe if they're not in Christian countries. There are no Christian countries. Okay, I'll agree to disagree. I want to keep going with this video. It's been a great talk. Honestly, massive thank you for being respectful. I did enjoy this conversation. I think we're just not going to agree on so many things. I don't think we just agree on like basic reality of the world, and that's fine. That's fine. But like, yeah. If you don't think there are Christian countries, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Anyways, let's keep going.
feel like a lot of the conversations
Well, my
that have taken
problem is
place.
not with your philosophy on Palestine. My problem is with your community and the harassment you've leveled against me and my
Ethan,
family.
people make inferences off of what you say. They do not know what's in your heart. Okay, and this is something
We
that I
agree on a
privately,
lot of things.
This is
The
something
issue
that
is the
I privately
harassment.
talked to you about in the beginning after October 7. I told you time and time again privately.
Okay, bro, you've
that
talked
the
a lot.
reason
Let's
why
just
people
move on,
think
please.
you are behaving like a. The reason why people think you are a Zionist is not because you're Jewish, but because of what you're saying. They
What did
heard
I
your
say that's
output,
Zionist?
and they made these
What have I
inferences
ever
off of
said
your
that
output.
shows that I'm Zionist?
Ethan, the way that you have tackled the subject matter.
Say one thing that has shown the world, undoubtedly, how Zionist I am. That I am
just-
worthy of the scorn of you
personally
and the
just
entire
recognized
left.
how wrong that was,
What did
what
I
you just said.
Okay,
That's
but
one-
does that
one
mean I'm a
example.
Zionist? I mean, and by the way, that was a recent clip. That doesn't explain the last 2 years.
Yes, it doesn't.
So
And
what
there's
did I
plenty
say in
there
the
as
last 2
well.
years
There's
besides that
plenty there
clip?
as well.
What did I say, Hassan? What did I say that's
recently
Zionist?
as last month.
You can't
as
give me
recently as
one
last
fucking
month.
contextual example of me saying something that's Zionist after this
Yes.
entire... Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
You have something?
I have many things.
List
As recently
one.
as last month. As recently as
List
last month,
one
you-
example of me saying something
You
I'm
don't have an
Zionist.
example. Just calm down and listen.
I have many things.
As recently
You're
as
not
last
answering my
month,
question.
you
You're just
talked
doing
about
this
how
Gish Gallop
Hamas
game.
is actually putting hostages inside of hospitals. Hamas is actually using tunnel systems under hospitals, and that is part of the reason why Israel is bombing hospitals. Bombing hospitals is a war crime. Okay, bombing hospitals is a war crime. In your
I don't defend
conversation with Sam Cedar, while on the one hand you now recognize that Israel's doing genocide, and you have in the past as well, for sure, but you've also
Consistently.
gone back and forth on it and
Absolutely
called it a
not.
war or
Never.
whatever. But having said that, in your conversation with
It's the whole idea of war crime. This is actually the funniest thing for me when people talk about war crimes, which is like, if you're trying to follow the law of war one-sidedly while the enemy doesn't, it's like you're trying to play soccer by the rules, but your opposition is allowed to pick up the ball with their hands and play football. Okay, American football. Kind of doesn't work, does it? Right? So how come Israel is supposed to follow these like arbitrary laws of war while Hamas is allowed to just not play by them? You wanna put this limitation on war? Both sides have to agree to this. If one side is not playing by the rules of law, then the other side doesn't have to either. It's nice if they can, they don't have to.
Sam Cedar, you thought you had a gotcha where you said that, well, I find it very strange that there's not a single bomb shelter in Gaza.
That's a condemnation of Hamas.
Yeah.
That is a condemnation of Hamas.
I think
Failure
it's a
to
condemnation
protect
of your assessment of reality.
How is that
Look at
pro-Zionist?
the Gaza Strip.
How is
Do
me
you think a
criticizing
bomb
Hamas
shelter would
pro-Zionist?
actually
Would you like to explain
survive?
that?
Do you think a bomb shelter would actually survive bunker buster bombs?
It'd be a
What
lot
are you
fucking
talking
safer
about?
than
There's not a standing
the
structure
seventh
remaining in
floor of
most
an
parts of
apartment
Gaza. For Israel to actually systematically destroy
You're
every
okay with
hospital
Hamas
implies
spending the
that a bomb
totality...
shelter would
Can I
just
ask you a
simply be
question?
fucking crosshairs.
Can I please ask you a question? Again, me criticizing Hamas makes me a Zionist?
You criticizing Hamas makes you a Zionist?
That's what you're claiming.
I mean, it depends on what you're saying. Yes.
Well, you know exactly what I said.
You can have criticisms of Hamas in terms of like their own internal domestic affairs, in terms of their governance. But if that's your hyper focus, then
If
yes,
the Nazis were in World War II, the Nuremberg trial would have never happened because the winners were right history. Bro. Can a truer statement be said, man? The laws of war only happened after World War II because of the Nazis. If Nazis won, you wouldn't have any rules for war. Jews being killed in Europe in this century is a little fantasy story. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. Sure, yeah, okay. Same for Muslim countries, Asian countries, and so on. It's a delusional belief that comes from willful self-victimization to give yourself an excuse to colonize a country. Okay, we just don't agree on reality, and that's fine. I have nothing against Holocaust deniers. I wasn't there. I didn't experience it. I only know stories from my grandmother. Okay, so like, hey, maybe she's a part of the propaganda, you know? Like, fuck it.
people are going to make that inference that you are definitely against any kind of resistance against the state of Israel.
Because they don't make bomb shelters?
Because your expectation,
Because they don't make bomb
from the
shelters?
Palestinians is to just simply sit there and take it so you can fucking act like you felt bad 10 years down the line.
Everything that you claim, the whole fucking apparatus of harassment that exists across social media with you at the center of it, it infringes on an inference that you maybe meant this. I have never once said I'm Zionist. The only reason people believe that is because you repeat it maliciously.
No, the reason.
Yeah, just use the Hassan strategy. She hallucinated. She's crazy. Just keep saying her name multiple times until like she stops talking. Yeah.
the whole fucking apparatus of harassment that exists across social media with you at the center of it infringes on an inference that you maybe meant this. I have never once said I'm Zionist. The only reason people believe that is because you repeat it maliciously
the reason
time
why
and time
that is
again.
because of your hyper focus
Name
on
one.
you, and your distractions away, and your deliberate deplatforming attempts towards pro-Palestinian content creators. It is ridiculous.
But being pro-Palestine doesn't absolve you of guilt.
You recognize the genocide, but you also.
Hey, let me address this. So first of all, the whole argument of Hassan is if you criticize Hamas, then you're Zionist. That's literally the crux of his argument. You can't criticize both. You're either one side or the other. You can't just like take a neutral stance and criticize both. That's basically the crux of his argument. Do you deny the fact that a bunch of Jews went to the Netherlands and literally blow up the city with firework bombs and attack natives, and then being a moderate is impossible, seriously. Do you deny the fact that a bunch of Jews went to the Netherlands and literally blow up the city with firework bombs and attacked natives, and then they got fought back and the literal Dutch state allied with Jews over their own people? You're literally a high class in European society above the native Europeans. Well, first of all, if this happens, that is very bad. But what does that have to do with Nazi Germany? Like, I don't know about this at all. If what you are saying is true, it is hilariously bad. It is like a really bad thing to do. Okay? Like, I think if this happened the way you are saying it happened, okay, the government is 100% fault. Which, by the way, this further encourages my point about might makes right. If the government is in favor of the Jews in this case, over their own people, then these people, their rights are not as protected as the government wants it to be. You're like, again, this is just another proof of like might makes right. Are you just proving my points? Like, do I agree that this is bad? Sure. Nazi Germany doesn't exist anymore. Modern Europe, Dick rides Jews to the point where, yeah, do you know why modern Europe, specifically Germany, dicks ride Jews? Because modern Germany is still paying reparations to Holocaust survivors. Okay, my grandma still gets money from Holocaust survivor programs, yeah, where the government prioritizes you over their own people. Yeah, okay, this is like, you know, kind of like a justice served back kind of thing. Absolutely nothing to complain about. I have nothing to complain about. I'm not a beneficiary of this. You are not oppressed in the rest of the world. Well, it depends how you view oppression. Plenty of queer people are killed in Islamic countries. You don't see me condemning Islam because of it, because of Israeli propaganda. I'm trying to understand what your point is. Am I not oppressed in this world? Did I ever say I am oppressed? Or are you talking about are Jews oppressed? I would say Jews are oppressed in many parts of the world, yeah. Yeah. Jews are oppressed in many, many parts of the world. In like everywhere in the Arab world, Jews are oppressed, right? Why? Because they don't have rights there. Which, by the way, I'm not even faulting Arab countries for doing it. It is what it is. And here we go, gay is a sin. Which, by the way, funny enough, based on religious values, I would agree that gay is a sin. I had this argument with my cousin. With my brother. Gay, based on religious values, is a sin. Also, it doesn't contribute to society being gay. Like, you're not producing children. Like, you can... sorry, that's not correct the way I said it. You can contribute to society, but you're not contributing to the growth of society because you cannot produce children. That is the problem with being gay. Yeah, but like, you know, we're all sinful creatures. You know, I am sloth incarnate, so it's not morally wrong in my eyes because I have my own morals. Jews are oppressed absolutely nowhere, not in the Arab world either. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, let me just waltz into Syria and see what happens. I have Jewish communities living in the Arab world just fine. Oh, do I? Oh, wait. Man, I'm not gonna look for it. It's a pain in the ass to look for it. But if you saw what do you call it? The video that the content nuke that Ethan made about Hassan. There's a part there to show how many Jews live in certain Arab countries. Most of them have 0 Jews, except the one Iraqi Jew or some shit like that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. You have Jewish communities living in Arab, They are fine unless they come walking in with a literal colonial flag. Okay, so they are not fine if they walk around with an Israeli flag. Got it. So as long as they hide who they are fine. Yeah, fantastic, bro. Yeah, they're totally fine. You know, as long as they don't show their big nose, if they don't poke out their big fucking nose from their houses, they're fine. Yeah, they're safe in their own house, you know, until we see them. Anne Frank was totally safe. She just had to make noise that day. But she was totally safe. Why did they have to make noise? It's their fault for getting caught. Yeah, she just had to hide better, bro. She wasn't oppressed. She just had to hide better. They can say they're Jews. The reason why walking around with an Israel flag is bad is not because it shows you're a Jew, but because it shows you agree with a genocide. Yeah, Germans are also fine in Germany unless they come in walking with a Nazi flag. Well, again, that's the laws that are being protected by the government. And if they didn't want this law to be protected by the government, they would vote otherwise. That is the power of democracy.
Literally get mad at people who fight back. You get
so
mad
I'm
at the
public
Houthis.
enemy
You
number
call them
one.
terrorists. You call Hezbollah a terror group, which is, by the American state's definition, absolutely considered a terror group. But there are plenty of terror groups that have
Hold on. Do you not consider Hezbollah a terror group?
Against American imperialism and other forms of settler colonial violence.
Do you not consider Hezbollah a terrorist group?
I think the definition of terrorism by the American State Department is intentionally vague to deny people their habeas corpus, deny people their due process. It is there to justify whatever kind of militant action that the American government can take. This is
funny enough, I would agree with Hassan on this. That is actually how it works. The US designates somebody as a terror group. Therefore, for the US, that is a terror group. I don't think it's more complicated than that. That doesn't mean that for Hezbollah and for Lebanon, Hezbollah is considered a terror group. Terror is subjective to the country that is being affected or impacted by it. So for the US, Hezbollah might be a terror group. For the UK, it might not be. Why? Because they have their own definitions, their own laws. Like, it's not, usually the Western world agrees unanimously about a terror group. But clearly, the Houthis were not a designated terror group under Biden, and now they're a designated terror group under Trump because it's arbitrary. Same bullshit statement, Germans are oppressed in Israel because if a German comes in walking with a Nazi flag, they know it's a German and they will attack him. No, they attack him because he's agreeing with Nazis. Same for the Israeli flag. Okay, so a white person is oppressed in America if he walks into a black neighborhood with a huge sign that says, I hate N-word. Yeah? That is the logic you're saying, right? Which, by the way, the citizens attacking you versus the government attacking you are two different things. No, that's not my logic. You're not oppressed. When do we get fuck around, find out? You're not oppressed because you're doing stupid shit and you're getting beaten for it. The government itself not allowing you to do something, that is oppression. If the government doesn't allow you a certain freedom, your freedom is oppressed. If you can carry the flag you want and I can't carry the flag I want, you are essentially oppressing my right to my belief. That is oppression, yes. But the government has to be the one doing it. If the government is the one oppressing my ability to walk around with a flag of a colonial ethno-state, then I am being oppressed. If the citizens attack me for me being a dipshit, that is not me being oppressed, so long as the government would defend my right to do so. See the difference? The oppression happens on the governmental level. not by other citizens. Okay, the Israel government is oppressing your ability to carry around the Nazi flag, so you're oppressed. Does it though? If it does, then yeah, sure. ChatGPT, are you allowed to carry around a Nazi flag in Israel by law? In Israel, the public display of Nazi symbols, including the Nazi flag, is illegal. There you go. Passage started criminalizing the use of Nazi symbols and slogans in public. Okay, yes. So anyone who wants to do that, you can't. You don't have the right of complete free speech in Israel. So sure, your right to free speech is oppressed to an extent. What do you want to say? Are not safe anywhere in the world now. What does that have to do with the rest of the world? I'm sure you can don a Nazi flag in many places. You can don the Nazi flag in the US. I don't understand your argument. Also, yeah, that it doesn't represent all the Germans. It's another good point. Yeah, it doesn't represent all the Germans. This represents the one that believe in ideology. Sure, you're not allowed to have this ideology. You don't have freedom of speech in many countries in the world. Shit. In 99% of the countries in the world, you don't have freedom of speech. Only in the US you have freedom of speech, where there are no legal consequences for your actions, for your beliefs, sorry. This is not a gotcha, bro. By the way, you made the civilian argument when you showed me a video of an American civilian blocking a guy with an Israeli flag. That was a cop. That was a cop blocking. And also, that argument wasn't about oppression, it was about safety.
Another violent anti-Israel protest has struck an American campus, this time Barnard College in New York City.
Sorry, you're right. That wasn't a cop, I guess. I thought it was a cop. Or security or something. Because I saw a symbol on his patch here. Again, if this civilian is preventing him access and the authorities are okay with it, then they are being oppressed on this matter. But the argument I made for this specific case was that they are not safe. Security in America are often privately hired individuals that are commanded to do stuff from the owners, not from the government. Security in America has to follow the laws of American, like police and shit like that. They have limitations, but they have to follow the same laws that the police do. They have some limitations, of course. They can't enforce certain things. The Israeli flag doesn't represent all Jews. It represents a country. It doesn't represent it. Like, carrying a flag of a country is not representing an ideology. There's a difference. Like, the difference is between carrying a US flag and carrying a Confederate flag, okay? If you carry a Confederate flag, you're representing an ideology. If you're carrying a US flag, you're representing a country. Now, countries have ideologies, for sure, but that's not exactly the same. Because it's a place that currently exists in the world, not just the ideology of it. The flag of Nazi Germany also represents a country. It doesn't represent a country anymore. It represents an ideology only. There is no country with a Nazi Germany flag. They lost. They do not have a country anymore that is Nazi German. There's Germans. Okay, so civilians need to follow the laws of America too. They do. And if this person is not following the law, and the law doesn't do anything about it, then this guy is effectively oppressed at this moment. I agree with this country. That is not the same as just being a Jew. Okay, what if you're a Jew that you agree with the country? Like, I don't understand, like, is your argument that carrying a certain flag in a certain country is illegal? Okay, sure. Then you don't have freedom of speech in that country. Like, I don't understand what you're trying to prove here. That I said that Jews are oppressed in other countries? That has more to do with not just the flag. That has to do with their rights. With is the government going to defend them as it would defend other people? Sent out for agreeing with the country, not for being a Jew. I will send out a Chinese guy with an Israeli flag too. Okay, sure. Like, this is an argument for free speech at this point. It's like, okay, I can't carry this flag in this country. It is illegal. Okay, cool. The government in America actually defends Jews more than anyone else. Well, clearly doesn't seem to be that way in college campuses, does it? Like, that is not the point. Like, that is not true at all. You have violent protests. You have violent riots. You have Palestinian protests outside of Jewish houses. Yeah, that doesn't feel very good, does it? I don't know why people think Expedition 13 is game of the year, man. It's a mobile game, essentially. Oops, moved the wrong thing, but either way, covered this. We want to move this. Anyways, let's keep going.
Severe violation of the American Constitution. So yes,
please,
I think that this definition is intentionally vague.
Can I request something?
It's silly.
Can I please request something? I'm interested in having a conversation. You take this and you just go on and on and on and on. You repeat yourself. You double down the same point. I just want to have a conversation. You make your point.
Okay, but this is a country, like in the US, you have free speech. You are allowed to protest. You're not allowed to protest in front of people's houses and make them feel unsafe. Do you see the difference here? The most protected group in America, that is the just correct view. That is, because that's how the law works. You are right. If you can pay for lawyers longer than your opponent, you are more protected. Yes, this is literally like how it works. It is what it is. Yeah. And, you know, that is just the reality. Make more money. Rich Jewish bank owners that control the American government by buying over... Hey, man, honestly, even if this is true, right? And I don't care about the conspiracy. Even if this is true, that is another exercise of might makes right. If you don't like it, go ahead and do something about it. And if you can't, this is the reality you live in. If this is actually the reality. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm saying this is another example of might makes right. And another example of how you are not at all oppressed. Okay, just because there's some rich Jews doesn't mean that I am not oppressed in like some random country. That makes no sense. Hey, listen, you have a royal family, right? That has more, like, Elon Musk is by far not the richest person in the world. The royal family, okay, is by far more richer than Elon Musk, okay? So that means that Arabs are not oppressed anywhere in the world because they have a royal family that has a lot of money. This is literally your argument. That makes no sense. You're a regular person. So what if you're Arab or a Jew, whatever? If you are orchestrated in the society, if you are oppressed in the society because of what you were born as, that's all it is. You are oppressed for being that. Okay? Just because there are rich Jews, just because there are rich Arabs doesn't mean that some Arabs are not oppressed in some countries. Doesn't mean the Jews are not oppressed in some countries. Go to China. Tell me you're not oppressed as an Arab. This is such a... Like, yeah, if you come from the royal family of Saudi Arabia into China, you're not oppressed. Of course, you're not going to be oppressed if you're a fucking rich Saudi prince, okay? Like... yeah, no shit. Yeah, you're not. The Saudi prince is not oppressed. Yeah, you as the regular civilian, if you go to China, you will be oppressed. If you go to, if you're a black person that goes to Russia, you will have certain treatments. Okay. That the government won't care too much about. Right. Actually, no, that might not be true anymore about black people in Russia. It used to be true. No one is oppressing you, man. I'm not saying I'm personally oppressed. I live in Canada right now. I'm not oppressed. The government is not going out of their way to oppress Jews. If I go to Iraq, guess what? I'm going to have less rights than if I was a citizen of Iraq, I would have less rights than an Arab citizen of Iraq. If I go to a majority of the world, I will be oppressed because I am a queer. Yeah, there you go. Right. If you don't have the same rights as another citizen of a certain country just because of what you were born as, yes, you are oppressed. Am I personally oppressed on a governmental level? No. I didn't say anywhere in the world. I said Jews are not safe in many parts of the world. But also, if they have to give away their security means to a third party, that is a not great thing to do. You would much rather be able to defend yourself than have somebody else defend you. Because somebody else can be bought. Somebody else can start to hate you. You need to learn to protect yourself, or you need to be able to protect yourself. That's why Jews need Israel. You said they need Israel because they're not safe anywhere else. Because they can be unsafe everywhere else. Yes, this is true. It is possible for Jews to not be safe everywhere else. Yes. It has been proven time and time again over the last 3,000 years. Jews have been moved around the world. Yes, they need their own way to protect themselves. Of course they need Israel. That is the argument. If you cannot defend yourself and your people, you are effectively not safe because you're at the mercy of other people. No, I'm not. Because I think you have a different definition of safe. You're fine in Canada, you do not need Israel. I'm fine in Canada for now. Will my grandchildren be fine in Canada? I don't know. I know they have better chances if Israel exists. That is the argument. Or find anywhere else in the Middle East. Yeah, for sure. Then Arabs don't need Arab countries either. They're also safe everywhere in the world, right? Chinese don't need the China government. They don't need China. They're safe everywhere in the world. There is no discrimination ever happening anywhere else in the world. Jews are fine anywhere else in the West. Oh, now it's in the West. Well, the West didn't treat Jews too well 80 years ago, right? So Jews were safe. So here's the argument. Jews were safe for the longest time in the West until they weren't. Yeah, that's great. Palestinians are native to that area unlike Jews, so they deserve the land. What do you consider as native? Yeah, but I don't know if you notice, history tends to repeat itself. But what do you consider native? That your ancestors are originated from there. Oh, thank you. So yeah, so the Jews do belong in that area. Yeah, it just depends how far back you want to go into history. This is a weird argument. Okay. Oh, they do not. Okay, so we are rewriting history now. Let's just rewrite history. Oh, hey, honestly, yeah, there you go. There you go. And again, I personally don't care about natives and ancestry. If you can defend your land, it is your land. If you cannot, unfortunately, you're not going to have that land for long. That's all there is to it. That's why I don't like this argument of going back into ancestry. Because it doesn't even matter. Look in the mirror, you are a Slav. I actually did a DNA test, and I am 50%, 50%. You look like Zelensky's cousin. Maybe you have one ancestor that live in Israel. Okay, so I have one ancestor that live in Israel. Thank you. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, wait, we didn't say vast majority. We said ancestry in Israel. Okay. So why do I have one ancestor in Israel? Was he forced out of Israel? If I have one black guy in my blood, it doesn't make me a native to Africa, and I can't go to Africa and colonize it because I am a native. No, but you know what would allow you to colonize Africa? Military might. If you had military might and you claimed you're a native, and again, the claiming native doesn't really matter at all. Right? Like, if you had the military might, you could go and colonize it. Yeah, of course. 100% you could go and colonize it. What do you mean? That's literally what happened. That's literally what Britain did. Britain didn't have any native ancestry. I mean, technically they do because everyone came from Africa, but like, you know, in the more modern sense, right? They went and colonized Africa. So guys, one black slave in my bloodline was African, so I will ignore my actual race and role play as if that one answer is my ethnicity and go to Africa because I was kicked out. Funny enough, some black people just went and did that. African American. Yeah, this one.
Is a woman.
I'm really trying to wrap my head around this. I'm really trying to wrap my head around how are Americans coming to Africa and being happy. Please comment down below because
that's such a funny video. So yeah, again, like your whole argument about like who has the right to a land, just again, it doesn't work on me because I don't believe in a right to a land. I believe in the power to defend your land. So none of this actually even matters to me. Because like, if we start going back in history, like where do we draw the line of history? Like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Were Jews in Israel, aka Judea? Well, where was Jesus born? What was Jesus? He was a Jew. Not only a Jew, he was a high Jew. He was a fucking, not a high Jew, but like he was like a practicing Jew. He was teaching Judaism in fucking Bethlehem in Jerusalem. So it's like, what are we talking about? You calling yourself native to Palestine? I don't call myself native to Palestine. I'm just using the argument that you gave me. I don't give a shit if I'm native to to Judea. You know what? I'm gonna use Judea just to like spite you at this point, because you're gonna call it Palestine, which was changed to Palestine by the Romans because of their disdain for the Jew. Okay, I'm gonna use Judea, what it used to be before, or the land of Israel, whatever you want to call it. I'm not gonna call it Palestine. Okay. As a white Slavic man, it's as ridiculous as if I were to colonize Africa because of my one African slave ancestor. You are native to Eastern Europe. Again, this argument doesn't work against me because I don't care about who's native and who's not. I only care about if you have the power to defend your land. Even if I were to agree with you, it doesn't change the fact that I believe Israel has the right of existence because it can defend its existence. Yeah, it was constantly conquered a lot. And the only time it wasn't conquered, based on the Bible and our only record of it, which, by the way, not Bible, sorry, like the Torah, and the only reason that people believe it is religious, and they consider it also like a somewhat historic book. I don't believe in the Torah. I don't believe in a lot of things in the Torah. I think it has a lot of cool moral stories in it. But like, our only knowledge of Israel belonged to the Jews because they were also the first people there after their escape or some shit like that, right? They built the place. It was an uninhabited wasteland, basically, up until God showed them the way to Israel, right? That is like, the only story we have about that land as far as I know. And again, it doesn't matter to me who was there first. The only thing that matters is, could they defend it? They couldn't defend it when the Romans came. They lost it. It wasn't theirs anymore. The Romans couldn't defend it when the Ottomans came. It's no longer Roman. It's the Ottomans. The Ottoman couldn't defend it when UK came. Well, with the help of the citizens, sure. It was UK territory. UK had the power. It gave it to the UN. UN gave it to the Jews. It's Jew territory. There was war. The Jews won. They took more territory. It's Jew territory. That's how it works. I don't give a shit who was there first. Canaan is the Jew people, yeah. Yeah, Canaan are the Jew, like the original Jew. The only reason they started being called Jews is because the land was known as Judea. And I think it was the Romans who called them Jews the first time. They weren't called the Jews until the Romans or some shit like that. We just refer to them as such. But the term was changed because of Judea. So that's what they were called, Jews. So like just by the name, by the fact that they're called Jews, you know that their origins are there. But personally, again, like I said, I don't care who originated where. It doesn't play any fucking role in my idea of who deserves to be where. Nobody deserves to be anywhere. You deserve to be where you can defend it until somebody comes and takes it. That's all there is to it. There's no moral high ground of who wins. Your ancestors will not care if you were morally right to give them a better life. The Canaanites were there before. It's not one singular ethnicity. The Canaanites became Jews, and so did the ancestors of Abraham. Yes, the ancestors of Abraham, by the way, are both Arab and Jew. Like those are like that's where the split happens. And those people who were conquered stayed, became Christian after the Romans. Well, they became Christian after Jesus, colonized them, and then they became Muslim. Some became Muslim, not they became Muslim, because they are still Christians. When the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, the pedophile, yes, again, I don't want to insult your religion, but like, plenty of stories of Muhammad, right? The guy you're talking to right now is a Slavic white man from Ukraine who apparently has one ancestor who was, if it says 50%, but it doesn't matter, right? Jews tend to also like mingle amongst themselves. So Jews used to only marry other Jews and only give birth to other Jews. Therefore, it's not like you are mixing only with the population. You're mostly mixing with yourself. But yeah, sure. In ancient Israel, and he focuses on that ancestor instead of literally every other person. I actually do not, again, like I said, this, like, you're talking to the wrong person about this. You're like, again, I'm literally making the argument, I do not care who was where first. So it's like, you're thinking I'm focusing on the one ancestor, debatable, who was an ancient Israelite. Again, like I said, I don't give a shit. if my one ancestor originated from Israel and he met some nice Slavic girl. Like it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't play any calculation in my thought of like why Israel belongs to the Jew, because they can defend it, and if they can't defend it, it will no longer belong to the Jew. That's all there is to it, bro. If China came and destroyed Israel right now and the Palestinians, Middle East would belong to China. That's all there is to it. Like, it doesn't matter who was there first. Really, who gives a shit who was where first? And then how are you a Jew religiously? I'm not religious. Because how am I a Jew? First of all, that's just how it is, right? How are you an Arab? Like, that's how it is. I'm not religious. But and again, I'm not saying ancestry doesn't tell you what your blind line is. I'm saying ancestry doesn't determine what you deserve. There isn't even a Jewish race to begin with, unless you think Palestinians and Lebanese are Jews. Aren't we all like Arabs and Jews? Aren't they supposed to be brothers and sisters, realistically? Like, you know, from the same ancestor? Like, I don't know what. Don't Jews mostly mingle with other Jews due to Judaism? Yeah, they mostly mingle with other Jews. You are forgetting that these are converts. A lot of Jews literally have 0 ancestors that, again. Oh, you're arguing with History Boy. Like, but again, my point is, it doesn't matter. But yeah. Anyways, let's keep going, man. Like, I think I watched like maybe 10 minutes of the video. You're a Slav. Sure. Okay. Your ancestors come from Eastern Europe, not the Middle East. Okay, sure. What's your point? Okay, I am a Slav. What is your point? Did I colonize Israel? What do you want? Like, what is your point? Okay, I am a Slav. If Nazi Germany existed, they would call me a Jew and kill me. What is your point? What what are you trying to get at? You think natives deserve to have the land. I think whoever has power deserves to have the land. That's it. Judaism and Islam are both Abrahamic religion. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they are. Yeah, Abraham is the father of both. Yes, he had 2 sons. One was became the Jew thing, and the other became Islam. Yeah, something like that. I don't remember the whole story, but basically that's how it is. That's why it's called the Abrahamic Accords. Yes, because this is the origin of the Jew and the Arab. Nazi Germany existed, they would call the Indians Aryans and roleplay being the same race. That doesn't mean anything. No, that means that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean anything. I don't play a calculation of who deserves the land based on like what, you know, how lucky you were in the RNG of your mom. Like, I don't care about that. You seem to care about it. I don't give a shit about it. I don't care too much that I'm a Jew. Like, it's never been calculated to me. The only reason I care about being a Jew is because people kept throwing it in my face. Thinking you're a Jew means nothing. Because Nazis think you're a Jew means nothing. I wish it meant nothing, but for them it meant everything. Just because for me doesn't mean anything, realistically, doesn't mean that I don't understand that other people view me a certain way because I'm a Jew. She would be a Rough Rider. Hot Wheel Grandma. Look, if I was born on an island with no inhabitants, do you think I would care about being a Jew? Or a German? Or an Arab? Do you think it would even compute in my brain? The only reason a Jew cares about being a Jew is because of how the world treats them. That there's not much else to it. You are a product of your environments. If a Jew really cares about being a Jew, is because he's taught to care to be a Jew. Because he's either in danger or he needs to realize his shortcomings or his advantages in the world. That's like, none of this actually matters though. It only matters because it matters to the world. If being a Jew didn't matter to anyone, it wouldn't matter if you were a Jew or not. If being a certain skin color didn't matter to other people, to everyone around you, then you would not care about your skin color. Because it doesn't matter. It only matters in the context of how other people view you. It's gonna be hard to make all these clips, man.